8 episodes in so far. Sadly, we have one character or one player that has had to step away from the game. Capsy or New, or his character named Hyde, has had to step away from the game due to just the schedule conflict. He will be missed, but uh, we got a new player and possibly another new player down the road, but the story will continue. And with that, Jacob, you want to take us away with the recap?
Yeah, of course. Last session, our players, after splitting off with Necro and Bolg, were feeling an impending doom upon them, as even Avali feeling this as well, the most rightful to so, when a stranger that goes by John Lash happened upon them, as they discussed in further detail how they were going to escape the ever-looming shadow of Illyria and Avali's past. John Lash, quickly understanding with their eagerness to leave, saw an opportunity to try and apprehend Avali at gunpoint, in which One Eye and Hyde leapt into action as bloodthirsty flying monkeys creeped nearby out of the alleyway to cut off One Eye. When Hyde leaped in, and with a clutch sleep spell, she fled into the sea in sheer panic and anxiety as One Eye and Hyde bashed at John Lash. Hyde taking a few shots to the chest, feeling a bit of weakness and coming to him in a strange but jovial dwarf appeared, smelling of old mead, riding atop a ram-like steed, joined the fray, and beat the charging monkeys that were after Avali. After a swift victory, they regather themselves and feel the clutches of death looming above them. While that is going on, Necro found himself against a wall with the king, as an endless void seemed to be creeping, pulling him into the ever-looming darkness. As the king sought out perfection and even felt spite and jealousy of the gods, favored Necro, and took this chance to seek an audience with the god of death by killing him. Rumble, covered in Necro's blood, kneeled to him as he took his fingerprint, adding it to his collection of names to his dictionary, labeling Necro's death and last words he hears. Treachery, as he falls into unconsciousness. Necro then awakens after several chaotic visions from a familiar voodoo priestess that gave him the tools of his torment not too long ago. And after repairing his body for a price he doesn't truly understand, the crone revealed herself as Wee Jaws. And after telling him what this world was to be unfolded, she left him with the parting words of a nearing calamity. And that's where we kind of left off, as a looming shadow, but almost a glimmering light of hope was reborn. We will begin with Deidre. Deidre was making her way to the crown of Illyria, sneaking from brush to brush, possibly getting closer and closer back to where she thought she would be the most safe, feeling the sweat from her recent decisions and fearing the king's words. She began to creep closer and closer to the city of Illyria. In doing so, she felt the swift, blunt object hit her in the back of her skull as she fell unconscious. As she fell unconscious, she barely remembers the swift ideals and voices coming to her. A conversation, a whisper, ideal of fleeing death, but also hope. She remembers the last thing you remember, Deidre, is opening a door and feeling your consciousness come back to you as you feel a tight grip above your head, kind of wrapped around your hair, and you feel a bit of your consciousness coming back to you, your eyes a little shaky. You can kind of peer up into the sky a bit as the trees above you are kind of opening up as the moonlight spills and fills this area, as you feel your body being dragged, and you look down and see that your hands are now in cuffs as a guard and a city guard of Illyria, without a helmet on, is kind of dragging you by your hair, closer and closer as you kind of like swivel your neck a little bit to look around your surroundings. You can hear nearby banter as he starts making his way towards a familiar-looking watchtower. As you kind of start waking up, your body kind of shakes a bit, and he feels your grip tense as your body goes from a very slacked to a bit of a fighting position a bit as you're feeling yourself being dragged across the ground. Your boots and your dress kind of just being dirtied by the soil as he kind of slows his pace a bit and looks back down at you as he drags you. Looks like this slippery snake is awake. Bashed her head good I did. Trying to hide from me quite unwise. To the bad king wants you. You look like a fine lay yourself. As he kind of rips at your hair a bit and then kind of smells his fingers.
Blech.
As he starts
Ew.
dragging you closer and closer to this watchtower.
The fuck?
Someone call 911. I don't like this guy.
What are you doing? You see wooded area kind of around you, the nearby brush that you kind of getting dragged away from.
Okay,
You
how
feel
many
like you're
people
only
are around?
What's that?
How many people are around? Are there a lot of guards around?
At the moment there is only this guard dragging you kind of by your hair in the mix of like your hands are kind of pulled up above like behind your head as he kind of has a grip on the chain of your shackles on your
Would my
wrist.
fingertips be able to touch any of his skin?
You can feel, I mean, you can bring your hands together and I mean, you can kind of tap at his hands and stuff, but he's got a firm grip on you as he's pulling you
Okay.
towards this watchtower. And
That's
you can see
all I need.
40 feet away or so, just like this small watchtower as guards kind of just planted outside. But besides anyone else, it's just you guys, and you kind of have like this thicket of thick woods on either side of you. The same woods that was kind of like on the outskirts of Illyria that you were heading from brush to brush to.
So I'm gonna try and channel Divinity Touch Death on him and kind of swing my hands up together at his wrist
Okay.
and cast it when it contacts him.
Okay.
So I need to roll a d10 for that. Come on. I got a 6.
Yeah, and you must
Above
make a
average, at least.
Constitution saving throw as well.
Well, what level are you using it? Because the higher the level, the more.
Oh, well, I'm casting it at 3.
Third level. Yeah,
Excellent.
he's gonna beat your Constitution on that. So I'm pretty sure he'll take the necrotic damage.
Oh.
But he will not die, obviously.
God dang it!
You feel
Is it
as
that 3 rolls of 10?
Oh yeah, because you have
It
to.
deals
It deals
additional
additional.
1d10 for every level above first.
yeah.
Oh, 2 more. Another 6. So we got 12, and then 5. So 17.
Nice. As you feel your hands kind of slacken a little bit, and you kind of concentrate your magic as you kind of like can't necessarily fully grasp around his hands, but your fingertips kind of outreach, and then you feel them kind of like push into his hand as he kind of grips you with your hair and the chain. As you watch these threads of necrotic energy come from your fingertips and begin to slowly sink deep into his flesh, and you watch as this necrotic dark energy begins to fill his skin and almost begin tethered like an IV to his veins. As he does this, he kind of rips his hands away, and he puts down as he throws you down to the ground. Your hands still binded. Him kind of sits. You watch as his hands begin to like darken, and his first darken with this like crackling energy that kind of like goes from your hand to his, and then the skin from his hands begin to die as it spreads from his arms and forearms as he starts hitting the ground and starts just kind of rolling in pain and anguish. You're kind of just laying prone on the ground at the moment, and you hear the sounds of guards kind of heavy feetfall starting to make your way towards you from the watchtower.
Oh dang. How quick am I able to get up and try and run to cover in the thicket?
You easily can. I mean, you can get up to your feet pretty quickly. There's about 15, 20 feet away from you to get into the more thicker part of the woods on either side. It depends on you which way you want to go.
Let's go right.
All right. As you start dashing towards the thicket, you hear a familiar voice in your mind for a moment. Put your hands to the air.
Just gonna raise both my hands that are bound together straight up like I'm just running like a hooligan.
You see guards kind of making their way towards you as you're you're now kind of standing near the thicket and kind of breathing heavily as the night falls. It's a bit of a chill as you hear the distant sound of flapping wings as the moonlight itself above you kind of darkens a bit as you hear a large call of like an eagle kind of screeches throughout the air as it comes dive bombing towards you.
I'm just gonna keep sprinting. My hands up.
As you start making your way towards the thicket of the wood, as you're sprinting, this eagle just comes bounding down at you and grabs onto the shackles, holding as you held them up into the air. As you feel yourself being pulled hard, your wrist pulling even harder now, harder and tighter than these actual bracelets are kind of like tightening around you. As you look up above you, this large, giant eagle now holding you in its talons. It's holding the chain kind of taut and hang as you hang there, and you look over and see this is not any regular looking large eagle, as its feathers kind of with this olive opaque green kind of hue to its feathers kind of as they flap evermore very loudly above you, kind of like almost like a plane kind of going overhead, the sound of its beating wings throughout the air as you feel yourself getting farther and farther away from the actual ground itself as the trees become smaller and smaller. You feel your breath kind of take you for a moment as you kind of peer up and the eagle's head kind of turns down looking at you. This eagle's beak very long like a blade of a claymore, but it's or on its side of its head has these curled horns on the side of its head as it peers at you with these dark yellowish eyes. And as it kind of turns its like bird like head at you for a moment, you see as a familiar visage of a friend of yours. Friola Brightvale reaches a hand down to you as you see her casting a large net as she kind of weeps down at you to grab you from the talons. Grab on!
I'm absolutely reaching up for that lady. I love her.
She grabs you, kind of like your hands kind of extended out. You kind of leap a little bit forwards as you feel the eagle kind of even tuck its legs upwards into its body to give you a little bit more reach. As as Friola reaches down and grabs the chain and pulling you upward onto its back. As she does so, you see the two familiar children that you saw her walking out of the king's court with, and just to your estimation, guessing so, that the eagle you are now riding is Jack Willow. As Friola kind of sets you like behind her, as you kind of wrap yourself around her, you can see near towards the tail feathers, these two children also are grasping hard onto the tail feathers of this eagle, as they kind of just stare at you, very confused but also excited. The younger girl, these girls have like this long reddish hair. One of them wearing just kind of like rags, and the other one kind of just wrapped tightly around her older sister as she kind of just peers at you. The younger one kind of smiling with a large grin over to you as Friola is just gripping the neck of this giant eagle as it beats its wings and then begins to turn. Riola kind of turns to you and then sees the chains and kind of waves her hand across your palms as you watch as the latches on the cuffs unlock. There. Much easier, I'm sure.
I'm just gonna fall into her and hug her and oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
She hugs you back kind of awkwardly for a moment as she kind of like you feel her legs kind of twist and tighten around the neck of this eagle. Don't push me off, but it's lovely to see you as well.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad, my bad. I'm gonna kind of hop off her and also hold down onto the big boy.
Okay. As you kind of scoot back a little bit to give her some space, she kind of turns face to kind of like see where she's necessarily going. You see her kind of lean down and whisper something into the eagle's ear for a moment, and then the eagle nods and then starts making its way towards the ocean. Kind of turn face completely from the city of Illyria. As it's doing so, Friola kind of turns to you a bit. We got word from our friend that you might be in trouble.
Got the insider scoop. So, seeing as there's something wrong going on, obviously, what is going on?
A little hard to tell you right now, but I can tell you on the way if you'd like.
I'm all ears.
Well, as the eagle kind of descends a little bit and then reascends kind of higher, as you can see Trencher coming into view more as closer as they start approaching. Well, I think it's best that I tell you everything when we meet everybody. Your friends, they're in Trencher, correct?
Yeah, they are.
All right. Well, do you know... And she kind of hesitates for a moment and looks at you again, almost kind of like furrows her brow, almost like a feeling of you kind of felt before, you've seen on other people's faces, a bit of distrust, but worrisome, like kind of like telling of bad news, but not necessarily wanting to give it all away. But she kind of holds it back for a moment and then speaks again. It's a bit worrisome to tell you, because once you're involved, then you're all involved, but it seems like you're all involved anyway. But you know of Jaws, correct?
Do I know of her? Auntie, you're funny. That's the goddess I am devoted to. I mean, ran away from home was a whole thing. I ran away from home, studied at a temple for her for years, and then my mentor died, and well, here we are. But yeah, what's up?
Well, I thought so. You definitely have her gutso, I guess you could say. But she is a friend of ours. As she kind of pats the eagle for a moment and kind of just calls out into the night. Well, she was giving us visions and saying something. She always speaks so much in riddles. I swear that woman can't even just give it to me straight half the time. But we have a bit of history. Enough said. But apparently, there's a much bigger problem coming to us, and most likely she kind of peers down and kind of pats the eagle's head for a moment and kind of traces his horns with her fingers. It seems that when we last met, that Jack has been wanted in the city of Illyria, and the king sent the Highwind Angels after us. Jack kind of fought him off as best as he could, and then we started to flee because we wanted to get the children safe. That's kind of our plan at the moment. Not necessarily a fight, but more of a tactical retreat, I guess you could say. Uh, she kind of looks over at the children. Our main mission was to save them, and then we got more wrapped up in the king's delusions, and he wouldn't listen to what Jack had to say, and even Jack gave up his own boon to save these two children. And after doing so, I guess it kind of put us on the lam a bit, and, well, it seems Ouija has also implied that you all possibly are involved, and the one called Necro, it seems to be even deeper in this. His body
I
even
knew
cursed.
something was wrong with that guy.
Oh, yeah? How so?
He tries not to talk, but he says stuff and no one else hears it. And then when I try to talk to this freaking guy, all he does is ignore me. Whatever.
It's always the silent types that always have so much to say, or much to hold.
I don't know, he's got small hands.
She kind of smiles for a moment and then kind of goes back to being a little bit more serious as she kind of looks off into the sea. You guys are hovering over Trencher now as you watch as the eagle kind of just doing circles around, and kind of you watch as its eyes kind of cock back and forth, looking around as it's searching for something. She goes on to say, well, our plans are basically we have a boat coming. We hired a hand and a captain off into the sea. She should be arriving here soon. After doing so, we'll get on the ship. I'm going to need some time, and I'm hoping with your friends' help, and Jack, of course, as she pats his head again, we can buy some time to get us, well, myself and Jack and the girls. So we're going to go back to our planet.
Oh. Well, I mean,
Just a
if you ever
planet?
stop by on this hunk of junk again, you let me know.
Well, we won't be gone long. Just
Oh.
long enough to get these children safe. You see, and she kind of gestures to the older-looking red-headed girl. And by older, she's only about like 13 years old. This
My God,
human
that's
girl,
ancient.
and the younger girl kind of wrapped around her waist, probably about 5 or 6. And as she kind of gestures over, and the wind kind of blowing off of you guys' clothes and kind of just wisping through your hair as she talks, she's kind of talking a little bit loudly, of course, as the eagle kind of dives and swoops around the city. You see this, what looks like a strange mark bared on the girl's neck, what looks to be a shape of a unicorn's head burned into like her skin, almost like a birthmark, with these weird etches and runes are cast across it. Well, you see, she's quite important, just like my boy Jack here. She's one of the Earth Mother's chosen, and we need to take her back to where she can fully be bloomed and taken care of, and of her guidance. But it seemed that her father was executed by the king, and we were feared, and the mother herself believed that she was going to be killed as well, and she doesn't take kindly to her champions being killed. Neither does. As she kind of says that, her voice kind of trails off as she kind of looks out into the darkness for a moment. Never mind. I'll explain more in detail when we get to land. It seems Jack has found them. And while that is going on, One Eye and Fulgrim, you are kind of walking out of the alleyway as Avali and Hyde are kind of standing off near the shoreline as kind of the boats begin to rock. Mist kind of now falling and kind of spreading across the waves. The crickets and nearby fauna just kind of going loudly as you hear the sea kind of crashing against the shoreline, kind of splashing up occasionally. As you guys stand now in this alleyway where you just finished your fight here. Avali, as you kind of stand on this pier, well, towards the docks a bit, you see a distant ship off on the horizon a bit. You also see a far off same lighthouse kind of just slowly turning and flashing as it spins in this dark moonlight night as the kind of peers through the fog. As it begins to spin and continue spinning throughout the night, it just kind of wavers and kind of the light cascades across the dock kind of very brightly as it kind of almost reflects a lot of the light off of this dock as you see like a few of the items you carry, or you even see a few of the flashes of the few weapons that a few of you carry, and even off of Hyde's wings that kind of the light kind of reflects all around you, and you feel like this creeping feeling as you kind of stare off into the ocean as if someone's looking and like burrowing eyes into the back of your head for a moment. and you feel this in initial turn as you kind of look away from the sea. As you turn, you see Thorgrim and One Eye kind of stepping out of the alleyway, and to the right-hand side of Thorgrim as he steps out, and Bugger kind of walking off with in tandem with them, you see a flash of a humanoid shape, almost like a shadow for a moment, as these bright emerald green eyes peer through the darkness behind this crate that kind of just lays to the side of the alleyway, kind of off to the side where you see other crates and barrels where you kind of pass by in a panic. As you see a humanoid shape kind of leaning across a crate as this humanoid figure kind of steps out of the shadows a bit as it leans across a crate nearby as as you watch the lighthouse light kind of spinning erratically, and it kind of brightens the individual for only for a moment, but the eyes of these emerald glow kind of just reflecting off into the peering darkness like a cat in deep void. And if you would like, Sage, to describe your character as she begins to step out of the shadows of the alleyway.
Has gray hair, and she's also very pale. She's not quite slender, but not thick. She's just a medium build. She has very bright green eyes, and she has a very cold-looking demeanor and very flat expression.
And what about what you carry on you?
Oh, sorry.
Good.
I carry a staff with me, and also a amulet is on my neck that appears to be of a red color, but it's more of a darker red than the light is hitting it as. Also carrying possibly a small bow on my back as well.
Okay. You see this figure kind of step out of the shadows a bit and kind of One Eye, you notice as well, the moment you and Fulgrim kind of step out of the shadows of the alleyway, this woman kind of just emerges from the shadows to your left-hand side and kind of just steps out a bit with a solemn expression. And as the lighthouse light begins to continue to flick and turn, cascading its light across the docks and illuminating her as she kind of steps out, you also see this kind of where she was standing, this where seaside moss and like foliage has kind of started growing off the side of these buildings. Almost as she begins to step away from the crate, you see a bit of like fungal spores kind of slowly wiltering as she kind of steps away from the shadows, almost like as if as she steps that this weird like aura of fungal fungus begins to grow out of the actual algae that and seaweed that builds off the side of these docks as she steps into the light.
All right. Well, considering what just happened, my first response is gonna be I'm just gonna flourish the spear, point it at her, and it's like, all right. Already had a bit of excitement tonight. Why are you here?
Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, new friend, calm down. I know it's a little weird, but she's a friend. She's a friend.
Of yours, I hope.
Yeah. She's a friend.
How do we know you two? You're a friend.
Well, at least I know that he fought against the person we were fighting against before. So at least he's got that going for him. And if he's vouching for her, for now, that's enough for me to at least not be aggressive. So I'm just like, oh. So, yeah, One Eye will just nod. And he's going to, obviously, I'm going to keep the spear in my hands along with my shield, but I'm going to remove the point away from her.
All right. As you say that, One Eye, if you want to describe your character to Sage as well, and then we can just go around with the people that are standing here. Avali, you can describe what you look like, and then Thulgrim, if you want to explain what you look like as well.
Having traveled with me, she'll know what I look like.
Yeah, of course. I just want to give a bit of a refresher.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, am I starting?
Yeah, go for it.
So, One Eye, having just pulled a spear away from you, a spear that seemed to be made from bone, just didn't look like it's been sharpened, but almost just like molded into the shape of a spear, is a bronze dragonborn. As the name suggests, he only has one eye, his right eye. His left eye is a mere socket. And dressed in sort of just standard, kind of like, it's traveler's clothes, so kind of like wayfarer's clothes. You know, he travels, he's a sailor by trade, so you can kind of get that general, I guess, vibe. Yeah, for lack of a better term. He is wearing leather armor, though. And he does have a shield in his offhand. He has a tail. I don't think there's much else to him.
Lily?
Amelie is a blue-skinned water genasi. She's currently soaking wet, having just gotten out of the water. She's wearing a tattered cloak and a backpack that's covering her clothes, and she's eyeing everyone distrustfully right now.
Even me?
Not you, for now.
And Thulgrim?
Thalgrim is, I guess, on the younger side of dwarves, just standing at an average height of about 4'6". The longish red hair with the standard higher end clasp holding the braid together, and same on the beard. Wearing some fine cleric's robe with carrying his flail and his shield on his back. Sitting on top of Bugger, his trusty companion.
As you as well, you see next to Avali a kind of now hovering, kind of defensively in front of her mace, I'm pretty sure, in hand, kind of pointing it towards you in a defensive action. A dark, twisted fairy kind of hovers, beating its wings. A little bit of blood trickling from his armor as he kind of just hovers there. Darker skin, sharp, pointy teeth, glaring dark eyes as it kind of just casts across as you see the lighthouse kind of just continuing to spin as his form and shadow kind of billowing off the dock as it kind of slowly casts like a small, medium-sized shadow across the dock itself as he glares deeply at you.
I forgot to mention stature. One Eye would be 6'2", fairly lithe, but you know, as a dragonborn, still probably bigger than most humans. That's it.
Alrighty, perfect. But that's what you see around you at the moment, Rana.
Okay.
Thulgrim's pretty close to you. One Eye is just about 5-10 feet away from you. And Avali is about good 15, almost 20 feet. Same with Hyde. They're just kind of standing near the edge of this dock, and their backs now to the sea, towards facing you. As that's going on, everyone feels that now this kind of like wave of nerves kind of like seem to kind of cast itself across the sea, and a bit of a calm kind of comes over you as well. You hear One Eye and Thulgrim behind you, the sound of clomping hooves as a wagon drawn by 2 horses comes to a halt as it stops by the opposite side of the alley. A few clanging, swinging, rusty cages with the sound of chittering birds and animals kind of howling and calling out throughout the night across from the alleyway as it kind of echoes across. The sound of the kind of just like bounces off the buildings in between you as it comes to a complete halt. It stops, kind of blocking the opposite side of the alleyway where you guys came in. As it does so, you see. What's your perception, One Eye?
Give me a sec.
And Thulgrim?
Like passive perception?
Yes.
13 for me.
Okay.
Where is my passive perception? 13.
All right. You guys are pretty. Yeah, both of you guys would probably hear this and see this across. It's not too far away from the other side of the alleyway, but you watch as from a distance, it's a little hard to tell, but as it kind of starts making its way towards the alleyway where John Lash's body lays now still, you see a orangutan with a parasol tucked under its shoulder. A dark-looking parasol with red kind of like covers over it as it starts lumbering towards John Lash's body. The sounds of the birds and animals off this wagon kind of just beginning to screech and howl at the night as the moon kind of now a little more full as the fog rolls in from the sea, but the actual clouds themselves above kind of give more light as it spills into the alleyway as you see this orangutan kind of kneel down to John Lash's body, and you hear it kind of coo and kind of weirdly mourn a bit as it kind of slowly gets towards John Lash's body and actually kneels down towards him and puts his head in its lap as it kind of just it kind of looks down at it and then kind of picks his head up as his head is completely split open and kind of just the blood and the guts kind of getting all over its fur as it picks his head up confused and sets it back down and then looks up and around for a moment and then kind of looks over at you guys for a moment and then back at down in his body just kind of confused and then kind of just picks up his head and just brings his head to its chest and kind of holds his head for a moment and just like pulls his body closer to itself and just kind of rocks back and forth as you hear it beginning to cry.
All right. Well, as decent people, we have to do a mercy killing. I mean, come on.
Agreed.
I mean, if he's friends with that guy, you're not going to get an argument from me.
Yep.
Do you start making your way towards it? It's kind of just holding his body in its arms.
I'm not going near it.
It's not a decision I would make. Killing isn't my thing. Defending and healing is my thing.
If it's not going to do anything, I'm actually just going to start walking away toward Abilene.
Okay.
I'm going to keep my good eye on it, though.
Your good eye, your only eye.
As you start walking away towards Abilene, it's just kind of sitting there and rocking back and forth as it kind of whimpers and howls as it kind of holds his body.
I'll let it. You can do whatever the hell he wants.
I just focus on the loving sounds of Bugger going beep beep.
Bugger just kind of looking over at the orangutan and then back at you, Thulgrim, as it kind of just like, bah. and starts walking up to you and starts nibbling on your beard.
Oh no, I'm on. Oh god, I'm on top of Bugger. I'm riding him.
Oh, are you? Then he's
Yeah.
gonna kind of tilt his head to try to get your beard.
Bugger walks up to you.
Beep beep.
If he walks up to me, then who am I sitting on?
I'm just on one eye's back.
You're just sitting on a barrel.
Why isn't Bugger moving?
What are you guys doing while you're kind of just standing out into this opposite end of the alleyway as the sea kind of crashes on the docks? You see that Evely as well. If you turn back to the sea, you see that ship getting
Oh god.
off in the distance, getting closer and closer to the dock.
I don't know if you're looking at the Roll20 chat.
Oh, Rana, you're gonna go up to it?
Oh, I was trying to see if I had any healing of any sort, but I don't think I do.
Oh,
So, are
right,
you
so,
doing this speak with
so
animals?
what are you
or
trying
no?
to do exactly?
I mean, I could do the speak with animals, but if he's just crying, he's not gonna be talking.
It's true. You would have to also get pretty close to it to be able to do that as well. Up to you, though.
Yeah, we'll just leave him.
Okay. So what is everybody else doing then?
Avely is going to investigate the ships that are currently in the dock.
Okay. Give me an investigation. Or a perception.
She's looking for a ship she could possibly steal. It's a 4.
Okay.
Not
Okay, as you kind of look across the few ships that are here, they are quite large, and you don't see anybody on them, and they look like they're anchored and tied off. Not necessarily a one-person kind of vessel. I mean, you see off to the left-hand side a few what looks like turned over rowboats that you could possibly get on if you'd want to.
I did the wrong one, but we can still go for the 4. I think they both had a +2 anyway.
Okay. I mean, you'd see about the same thing. You would see just a bunch of larger ships, unmanned, tied off, anchored. You would made your over there to see that there's actually more than just one of these little rowboats kind of off to the side, but they're all flipped over onto the dock and have like tarp or what looks like rope and everything kind of tied off to them to keep them from being weathered.
Unfortunate.
Did anybody else want to do anything while they're in this space?
Like I said, I'm just walking toward Avely, so whenever I get to her, I'm just gonna start talking to her. But I'll wait
Okay.
and see if anyone else is doing anything first.
Okay. Well, you easily walk up to Avely as she kind of just is looking off into different directions, looking at the ships, and then kind of looks a little disheartened as she stares off at the few rowboats that sit on the dock.
Okay, if no one's got anything, then I'm gonna start. So I'm just gonna walk up to Avely then, and sorry to interrupt your pondering, but what now?
Oh, I was hoping maybe we could get out of here using one of the ships, but it doesn't look like we'd be able to.
Alright, well, I can help you look around, but while we're waiting, would you mind perhaps
In fairness,
you could
I
regale me
posted it in
with
the Discord.
an explanation as to why I
But I
just
should've
killed
added
somebody
everyone.
for you?
Well, it's kind of a long story, and also not really.
Mm-hmm. I'm all ears.
So, I was supposed to marry this guy, and I did not find that agreeable. So I left, and he didn't find that agreeable. So now he sends people to hunt me down.
Okay. He certainly didn't seem like a pleasant individual, so I don't exactly regret doing what I did, but is this going to be a recurring problem?
If you're with me, probably. So it'd probably be best if you just left.
Hmm.
I know you have your own problems to deal with, and you really don't need to deal with mine.
Unfortunately, I'd be inclined to agree. But at least until you find a ship, I can help you out.
Alright. Thank you so much, One Eye.
We have a
I'm
You're
sorry you had to
chat
deal with so
going,
much trouble because
and
of me.
the joke was,
Trouble's not something I'm
One Eye's
too
whole
unaccustomed with
problem,
dealing with.
you know, the One Eye.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
just generally motions to the eye again.
right.
As you say
Oh,
this as well, One Eye, you feel that as you're kind of talking to Avali as well, the few pieces of paperwork you took off of John Lash's body are kind of pressed into you, whether you put them in like a satchel or you tuck them into your armor.
No, yeah, I just pouched him. So, thank you for the reminder. So, yeah,
No problem.
I'm just gonna say like, oh yes. Also, these they may be of importance to you. He had
Adley
'em.
takes them and looks them over.
Okay. Do you want to actually read them over, or are you just kind of
Can
skimming through them? One of them
Can I?
looks. One of them is a wrapped up piece of canvas that has a painting of you and your parents, kind of cut out of the portrait, and the other is a contract.
Mm, not surprising at all.
Okay. Did you want to read the contract?
Sure, if I can. I don't know
Yeah.
what language is then.
It's in common.
Nice. Then I
Uh,
shall read.
as you kind of skim through it, it looks like a very well ledgered and documented contract. But near more towards the end of where you see a few familiar signatures near the bottom, you see, first of all, before you even get to really reading it, you see the same handwritten uh, signature of V and V kind of dotted at the edge, and you see the familiar emblem from the exact same letter you received earlier from today as well, the one that One Eye kind of burned away. As you see the contract emblazed with the mark and the seal, and you see the name Vilmidra Vazuborko. And as you kind of read over and skim through it, you see basically John Lash's name and sign and signature his name is also signed and dipped into, as you kind of like run your thumb over it, it's blood that it was signed with, stating the 50 years of service or the capture and release of one CF4. I'm so bad at telling this actual name.
Bardo?
Yep. CF4 Bardo, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will allow
Bardo.
the release and the break the primate curse that holds one Sophia Lash, releasing her as property back to the original holder.
Oh no. I'm gonna toss the papers into the water.
Okay. You watch as it kind of just flutters down into the sea and begins to the ink and blood kind of just soaked and just kind of fills the pages. It kind of just smears into the sea and then just kind of slowly just floats away and kind of lips back towards the shore of the dock, and then just kind of tucks itself under the dock to out of sight.
Thank you for giving me these.
Oh yeah, I had no use for him, so obviously I should give him to you.
Not surprising, I found a few of these contracts before.
Yeah, I guess considering your situation, that would definitely be something that would happen more than once, I would think. But
As you're saying this, One Eye, I know you wanted to keep an eye on the orangutan, and as it's doing so, you hear the sounds of its crying stop, and it kind of just brings your attention back to the alleyway again. And as you see it kind of like turn face back and kind of like go from one of your conversation and kind of like raise your hand as you turn, you see the orangutan kind of just like stands and is just kind of looking off as you guys are kind of just talking off in the distance, and it opens the parasol and then begins to twirl it over its shoulder as you watch as the kind of the red parasol with this like dark black handle to it, as it spins it, you watch as like fog, like a dark, like almost like smoke billows out of the parasol downwards, covering the orangutan and John Lash's body, as you watch as the orangutan and John Lash disappear completely. And as it does so, this kind of billow of smoke kind of just dissipates. You hear the crack of a whip as the horses of the carriage begin to neigh, and then the carriage like bolts off.
well, at least I won't have to explain the body to the guards.
Yeah. That monkey was a bit strange.
A bit. I'd say that's an underestimation of the century.
But with the weird monkey and the body gone, it's no longer anyone's problem.
I doubt that. But
It's not anyone's problem except for mine. You guys don't have to worry about it anymore.
As you guys are saying this as well, you Necro and not Necro, my bad. One Eye and Thulgrim, give me a perception check, please.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, wait, I'm kind of good at these.
Did it go through? There it goes.
Oh, yeah, I'm fucking good at these. 22.
Nice.
Did mine go through or no?
Negative.
I
No.
can see.
Oh, that's why.
All right.
Ooh.
One Eye, as you kind of like distracted a bit by the disappearing orangutan a bit, and then going back trying to conversate with Avali, Thulgrim, you feel the hairs on the back of your neck kind of stand up, and you even before you even really notice, Bugger kind of like turn faces, and you see Bugger kind of going from very interested in grabbing at your beard, and then starts looking up at the sky as you hear the sounds of beating wings above, as you see a large eagle beginning to soaring and diving down towards the group.
Here I am.
And as it
Rocking
does
down
so,
like a hurricane.
as it comes kind of careening down and slows its descent a bit, as it kind of lands a little about good 40 feet away from all of you. You feel the wind of its beating wings kind of blow a couple of your guys' hairs back, and you feel even Bugger kind of like his footing loosen for a second as he kind of just looks curiously at this large bird that has now appeared. As it lands, Deidre, you now see half of your companions. As you land, and you One Eye, I believe everyone besides Thulgrim and Rana have not met this cleric, as she also steps off this large eagle, as you see the familiar visage of Friola Brightvale that had a small conversation with the group. And you guys also, if you did not have a conversation with her, you've seen her, and you see these familiar looking children that stepped out of the king's court earlier the day prior. As they kind of step off this large olive feathered eagle, as it has these curled horns, and as everyone kind of steps off of it, you watch as the eagle's body begins to morph and shape back into a 10-foot muscular man with satyr-like feet and curled tiefling horns and a tiefling tail with these olive-like skin, bright yellow eyes wraps around his torso. And as it does so, you can see the familiar visage of Jack Willow as he becomes back into his original form, and he kind of stands with his hands on his hips and smiles brightly as he kind of appears. I'm here! As everyone kind of steps off of his back for a moment as he begins to shape back into his original self. And you can see the difference. He looks completely about the same as he was, but you can see clear signs of what looks like slashes and dark bruised muscles across his chest and arms as he looks like he's just been in a bit of a fray.
Is he naked?
He doesn't wear shirts, but he's got pants on.
Okay, everyone just wanted to know it was for science.
He's got like
Yeah, everyone.
what looks like just regular brown boots and these like almost sage green, like a dark green, like very not tight at all, very loose fitting pants that kind of just like drape over himself. And as he kind of moves or walks, it kind of moves with him and it kind of billows a bit.
All right. All right.
Deidre, is that you?
No, I'm what people will one day call Santa Claus. Yes, it's me.
What's a Santa Claus?
Jack
lot.
kind of turns to Friola. I thought we were supposed to say Deidre, not Santa Claus. Who's Santa Claus? And Friola kind of just looks at him like sternly, like very annoyed. It was a joke.
Can you describe to me like what Avali's appearance again? Or not Avali.
Friola?
No.
Deidre.
Deidre?
Yeah, just so I can see if I can tell outright that she's a cleric or
Go for it, Deidre. Describe yourself.
Deidre is a wood elf with fair skin, kind of more on the pale side, but like she's got some sun in the past few days, so she's not looking quite too sickly. She's got a bunch of freckles and like some shoulder-length brown wavy copper hair. Her eyes are hazel. She has a few tattoos ranging from runes of rituals to things resembling death and the occult scattered about her. She's wearing this like purple dress that she got for free from a shopkeep when she was with One Eye. And she's a mix of eclectic jewelry just found in her travels or inherited from people throughout life.
Yeah, the dress she wears is kind of like a sparkly, bedazzled like dress, kind of like a Jessica Rabbit kind of dress, but from her knees down is just covered in like mud and dirt.
I've been through the ringer today.
So I don't think I'd be able to tell just outright that she would be a cleric.
No, but Friola, you immediately see this visage, and as she kind of steps off, you kind of look at her for a moment, and you're like, why do I recognize this woman, actually? And you kind of think back to your moment, and you almost immediately think back to your church back at your hometown, and you remember sitting down with your father and family, kind of sitting and understanding prayer and kneeling down to the gods you pray to as the sun kind of beats through this mosaic glass that kind of like always hovered above your head, even as a small boy. You see the familiar pane glass of a once story told to you long, long ago that this three powerful, almost angelic-like people just came from afar and spread their will across the land and balancing it. As you see that the visage of Freyola Brightveil, she has this beautiful white starched entire cleric outfit with silver trim and a gold sun rising on her chest and plate armor as it kind of just like flashes, and as uh, the lighthouse kind of like as it spins, almost reflects off of her like armor, and just like it's so bright as she kind of stands there, kind of badgering Jack Willow as he kind of stands over her, confused a bit, looking down at her. As you clearly can feel, this is a very powerful cleric that almost even strangely was told to you that didn't exist, and possibly based on her age, you wouldn't even guess that she's still a human being. And as you kind of look over her, even her body radiates a light kind of from her center point. And as she kind of steps forward, her eyes meet yours for a moment, and she looks down at your symbol on your chest. I believe you have it on your chest, right?
Yeah, it's on my chest plate, my chainmail.
She kind of like peers at it for a moment, and then kind of like takes in everybody kind of standing there. But she kind of locks eyes at you for a moment as she kind of looks you up and down. You look familiar, dwarf. Would you happen to be part of the Rune Shield family?
Can you repeat that?
She looks over at you and asks if you're part of the Rune Shield family.
Thalgrim Rune Shield. At your service.
My God. It must be fate then. I have met your father, Halgrim Runeshield, correct?
That's his name, yeah. I wouldn't be able to tell you if you've met him, but
Is your
that's
mother's
his name.
name Brita?
Yep. That's my mom.
Wow. You have quite grown since the last I've seen you.
Hey,
Kind of looks over at you, and you don't feel like you necessarily know her, but you've definitely seen paintings and visages of her and stories and ideals of her, like tales about her, like being a very powerful cleric. And she's even one that even helped build and reforge the very church that you've prayed and worked hard into. And a lot of the people and clerics have been devout, even assistants under her watch, and she's even helped the clergy many a time.
kind of. It's kind of, I'm still on bugger, so I can't really kneel, so I just kind of give I guess a bowing nod, or like lean forward. A bow from the back of the mount.
Okay. As you bow, the bugger kind of feels your intentions and kneels down with you.
Yeah.
And as you do, she kind of, a bit of wash of embarrassment kind of goes across her face for a moment. You don't have to. It's really fine. I'm not very good at this kind of thing. As you kind of bow down, please stand. And bugger stands back up. As well as she steps closer to everybody else and kind of enters the circle of everyone, and kind of as she's taking everyone in, Rana, as well as Jack steps forward, you see a very familiar visage as well. You've never met Jack Willow, but you've definitely heard of his name. And the main reason you've heard of this name is a very folk hero that helped a long time ago on the very calamity that tried to take this world. And you even know the main points of where you live, the very jungles and druidic people that live there. Jack helped build that very village and even helped guard it at some time when you were probably way before you were even born.
I mean, I've heard of him, but other than that,
Yeah, he just kind of is just a bit kind of standing off as he kind of just talks with Friola, kind of whispering down at her and just kind of confused at what Deidre specifically said. Still, him trying to wrap his mind around it, whether her name is Deidre or Santa Claus. As Friola kind of turns to everyone else, and she kind of questionably looks at you over to you, One Eye. Wasn't there another in your group?
There
A Reaper.
was. Well, I didn't know what he was, but I have no idea where he went.
She turns back to you, Deidre.
The hell is that?
I'm not its keeper. He didn't talk to me, so how the heck am I supposed to know? Last time I saw him, he was in the city of Valyria, and I was trying to run back because the king was a little angry boy. So.
Pretty sure
Here
that
we
was the
are.
last place any of us saw him.
He kind of looks back over to you, One Eye, and then back to you again, Deidre. This doesn't make any sense. We just said she envisioned that he would be here. And as she says that, Necro, we go back to you. As you awaken from your unconscious state, you remember opening a door. And when you open said door, the smell of a salty sea greets you as you feel waves kind of cascading over your body. You awaken, face up, and you see millions of stars above, and you see the moon kind of hovering there as you feel your back on a very soggy, kind of wet beach. As you kind of like sit up a bit groggy and your eyes kind of spinning a bit, as you kind of sit up in these sands, you see a hermit crab kind of crawling across your chest as it starts making its way across and kind of looks over at you and snaps its claws over at you as you see a very familiar shoe of yours as it's trying to carry it away on its back like a shell, and you see as you kind of like coming to as you look up and stand, well, not necessarily stand, just kind of sitting up from your laying position on this beach, you see a what looks like loose rope that looks like it was cut around you, like broken away from around your legs, and your other foot kind of sticking into a what looks like a large sack of, or like a bag that's just coated in like just deep crimson of dried blood, and has like algae and other like seaweed wrapped around it as you're kind of just laying on this beach, half kind of like half of your foot sticking out of this bag that's just bloodied and just like rope that's cut around you. As you feel a bit dazed, you hear the sea kind of beckoning and calling back and forth as it pulls its waves, and the sand from your body kind of like getting covered in it and then back again. And as you kind of like put your head back a little bit even more past the sky behind you, you see a dock kind of behind you, as you see kind of like your head's almost under a dock kind of, and you hear distant chattering from like across the waves, and you see as well as you kind of sit up more and uh, kind of bring yourself to grasping what's going on, you see a ship off onto the sea horizon getting even closer to you.
All right. Well, Necro is going to grab for his head because this is very uncomfortable, and he's kind of gonna try to snap his neck, just kind of see if it turns more than it's supposed to.
You turn to snap your neck, and it turns. And as you kind of do that, you feel your whole entire head almost shift completely behind you like an owl. And as it does so, you notice the around your wrists and different edges of your body, the threads kind of like sitting there in your skin embedded as it kind of just slowly dissipates.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm gonna readjust my neck here. Put it back.
As you're doing that, you see the hermit crab getting a little bit farther away from you, and it still has one of your shoes.
That's one of my shoes.
Yeah, as its shell.
Hmm. Yeah. Do I have my scythe within, I guess, arm's length away?
The moment you even think, "Do I have my scythe?" you grip your hand onto your right hand, and you can feel its cold uh, handle in your hands as you kind of grip it, and it kind of pulls away from the sand.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to like reach out and kind of just like one of those brooms, and I'm just gonna just like yank it toward me real quick before it can try to
It
react.
continues walking away from you, but you kind of just, do the like weird awkward broom thing and just
Yeah.
hold your scythe away, and then as it like in the air suspended as it keeps walking away from you, the shoe just comes off of its back, and just as soon as it realizes it doesn't have it, it just burrows itself back into the sand, disappearing. As you kind of just bring your shoe to yourself.
Nice. Well, Necro's gonna put his shoe back on, and then he's gonna, I guess, stand up because think I know where I'm at.
As you stand and you kind of gauge the surroundings, you know exactly where you are. You're back. Seems like you're on the left hand eastern side of the docks, and you kind of just like hear murmuring voices far off into the distance, kind of just cascading over the sea waves as it kind of just the sound of crickets and fireflies flickering around you, and you see kind of like as you stand, the lip of the shadow of the dock kind of like castigating over you. And as you're standing there, the moon light to your back, you see you cast no shadow. And as you do so, you see just like a flock of bats kind of erupt from under the dock and just fly off above your head, and then just kind of travel off into the distance over the sea a bit as they all work into a small little pack and then fly and then turn away towards the town of Trencher again.
Does Necro know of where the guards post out in Trencher?
There's a few, but not necessarily one closest to you. But if you,
No,
there should be.
I was gonna say like where they normally operate.
Yeah, you would
Oh,
know where they normally operate.
okay, then Necro's probably gonna start coming into the town. He's gonna start looking for guards because he's got a little pent up rage.
Okay. As you kind of stand up, you can see behind you as you start making your way. There's like steps off to the side, kind of like getting up towards the beach that a lot of people that use to come down to the beach or whatever they need to do on repairs on the ships or the docks themselves. And you can easily go up there that way, or you also see a ladder that goes just straight up onto the docks as well.
Yeah, Necro's not gonna take a ladder if he doesn't have to.
Okay. You can easily start making your way towards these like sandy, like stone steps that kind of make your way up off the beach, and you easily step up. And as you do so, you hear voices off to your left-hand side, deep, more towards the dock. But to your right-hand side, you do see just kind of like a few establishments, just kind of like off into the distance, kind of beat off. And then as you kind of seeing, if you went to your right hand side, you can just see the cliff face that wraps around that's the town. And then as that cliff face goes and curves towards, you can see off in the distance the long eglated worm bridge kind of stretched out far from off the edge deep of the uh, town of Trencher that goes far across the large expansive sea off to your right hand side as it kind of disappears off into the shore as you see these like little flickering lamps across the actual bridge itself. Can't necessarily see any guards or people, but you do hear people murmuring and talking to your left hand side on the docks.
Yeah, Necro's gonna go look to see if any of these people are guards.
Okay. Do you want to walk stealthily, or are you just walking that way?
Oh yeah. Necro is going to use his stealth as an advantage here and kind of try to sneak up, just see if he can see anything.
Okay.
You want me to roll stealth?
Yes, please.
I assume with advantage because the boots.
Correct.
Oof.
All right, you feel like you're pretty confident, stealthy. It's pretty dark out in the sound of the sea, and kind of might drown out the sound as you kind of step across this creaky dock as you start making your way. You only get about 10 to 15 feet to where these voices seem quite familiar to you as you see off about a few blocks away, or a few ships away, technically, on your left-hand side, you can see the familiar outlines of Deidre, One Eye, Avely, Hyde hovering above. You see Friola and Jack Willow, and you see two backs to you in a what looks to like a little bit larger than a goat, kind of just tucked under this dwarf's feet as it kind of rides it. And as you get closer, you feel pretty sneaky.
No,
Deidre,
I don't think Necro feels very sneaky at this point. You probably
well, you feel like you are, but as I was gonna say, Deidre, One Eye, Thulgr, basically I think everyone besides Jack and Friola notice and hear the sounds of steps, kind of far off behind you, a bit not too far away from the crates or so, but you heard it for a moment and then it kind of stopped.
You just
I
so
feel-
happen to be in the field of view of my good eye.
Yeah.
I feel like with that 4 that he rolled, he's like Mr. Bean sneaking around. Just
Yeah.
I am so sneaky.
Nah,
Yeah.
see-
He's doing that arms held in like the T-Rex position, do the big high step cartoon sneaking.
Mhm.
No, I'm imagining right now Necro is like he thought he was being sneaky, then all of a sudden he's got all this sand in his shoes, and he's trying to sneak with taking his shoes off and then putting it
There's
back
still a
on.
crab.
Yeah, putting it back on, and then there's still more
Tries to
sand in
continue
there.
sneaking.
Yeah,
Well,
this,
yeah.
yeah, as he's kind of creeping up, feeling quite confident that he doesn't think he's being heard. You all hear the sound of what sounds like just like as he walks, as the ocean just like fully and like just filled his shoes, as it's just making this squishing sound across the dock. As he walks, even the dock itself kind of creaks to itself, and even the few bats that now fly kind of overhead for a moment, kind of almost just like pointing out his complete obvious creep towards you all.
Said I'm so sneaky.
Look, there's the swamp monster that you were asking about, Jack. I'm gonna point over to Necro.
Everyone now notices Necro as Deidre points out towards him, and Jack kind of like turns and then brings his hand to his brow and kind of looks off as he's like peering off into the distance.
Either that or a
That's
glove.
the guy you were looking for.
Oh, I turn Mace out. What the hell is that?
A
It's
drunk?
friend. A drunk friend.
You see what Friola's face goes from a bit of worry to a bit of calm as she kind of breathes under her breath for a moment and kind of looks over towards you, Necro. And she takes a few steps forward and then looking off, and then she just kind of stares off at you as she stops, as she steps in the middle of everybody, as she reaches into her pocket and pulls out what looks familiar to about everyone besides... No, Pilgrim, you probably know what this is. You see what she kind of puts in the palms in her hand as a sending stone, as she brings it up to her ear for a moment and then brings it back to her mouth. As she says, Daria Mortimer, it seems I can see your ship off onto the shoreline. Please do not approach and wait for further orders.
Fertile orders.
You can reply to this message.
Understood.
And that's where we'll take a break.
Oof.
Oh my god.
We'll take a quick 10-minute real quick. I gotta go pee anyway.
All
Right.
All right.
BRB. I'm back.
Welcome.
Thank you. How's everybody doing so far?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing good. Slowly introducing everybody. Welcome back.
I would just like to
Me
say I
too.
think you guys should have killed the orangutan.
Probably. It's gonna come back for revenge.
What with its Wario style parasail? No, it's from Jungle Book.
I loved that.
The monkey and the crab are gonna team up and destroy us.
That crab is the one from the beach in Divinity 2. It's gonna fucking teleport your ass and take your shoe.
I just wanted to get away with your shoe.
You just wanted a house.
Yeah.
He found that shoe fair and square. You stole his house. I think trial by combat, you and the crab.
Justice for the crab.
Crab people, crab people.
You should have gave the crab your head as a new home.
Ozzy.
All you hear in the distance and increasingly louder, dun 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 dun, as an army of dancing crabs come to steal your shoes.
Yes.
They only want your shoes.
Boys, enough.
And behind them all, you can just hear Bulgs singing and dancing. Is
He's just
chat playing
twerking
the
his way
monster
over to
NPCs
you
in
to
this
steal
stream?
his shoe.
No. Our DM is the one doing everything.
It is I, Bolg, Lord of Crab.
He just rides in on a wave of crabs.
It's
There are
true.
giant crabs.
I've mastered my magic.
Wow.
I found my calling, crab magic.
The scene
Crab
with the
It's like Black Clover. He's just fucking. That's his specific magic. It's just crab magic.
I love it.
Crab magic.
He just
Crabjic.
He extends his hand out, and a wave of crabs come shooting out.
Oh god.
Necro's feeling a little crabby today.
Oh,
He's gonna be feeling a lot crabby once he beats Bolg.
it's true. So, when are we gonna find out about him?
About who?
I don't know. Whenever you guys run back into him.
My vote is he's the leader of the crab people.
About who? Bolg,
The
Lord
Creeple?
of Crabs?
Yeah, Bolg, Lord of Crabs, Master of Magic.
Spoilers.
Master.
Spoilers, he was a victim of Avali's fucking growing crime rate.
True.
Yeah.
Just going around stealing animals left and right.
True.
I tried to, but I fail every time.
That's okay.
I tried to steal a frog, it swam away. I
You
tried to
technically
steal.
freed him, I guess.
Oh wait, I didn't mean to say Avali. What was the place called
high.
again? What was the
White
series?
whale.
Illyria's
Oh.
crime rate.
Ah.
No,
Oh yeah, the pink tortoise.
the turquoise flamingo.
The what?
The turquoise? Is that what you
The
said?
turquoise.
I
Isn't
heard
Turquoise like a breed of
Turquoise.
horse or something like that?
Hercules' weird cousin, Turcules.
Yes. Gonna go sing at the Green Crab Rangoon.
And they're
Oh boy.
they're distant cousins that they don't like to talk about. Twerkles.
Twerkle.
Oh no. He do be throwing it back though.
Oh.
Who's the hero clapping so hard? Twerkules. It just cuts over to this guy fucking clapping his ass cheeks.
Hell yeah. How's he gonna beat a lion?
The Nemean lion defeated by the clap clapping of Twerkules' cheeks.
You just couldn't handle.
The sheer shock waves from the intense cheek clapping was what took out the Hydra.
No. No.
One hit at a time.
Oh my god. All right, everybody back.
Define back.
I am front and center.
I choose the left side.
Yep, I choose One Eye's left side.
Back streets back. Alright!
He'll never see you coming.
He's sure gonna hear me though right now.
Honey, are you there?
No.
Well, we
Oh,
can't
well,
start
we have to
without
wait.
her.
Yeah, we gotta wait.
Rest in paprika.
All right, and welcome back.
And one man, too.
We'll get right
I
back
am
into
welcome.
the story.
Alrighty. As Riola kind of puts the stone back into her pocket and then kind of palms it for a moment as she like sees the. Are you still approaching Necro, or are you just kind of standoffish?
At this point, they all see me, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
All right, I'm just gonna drop my scythe and then I'm just gonna start heading to him.
Okay.
I'm still on the defensive of whatever the fuck this creepy looking thing is.
Wait.
Are you-
How far away are they from me right now? That's the real question.
Yeah, they're only about like 20, 25 feet away from you.
Okay, then Necro probably won't. I thought they're like 50 feet.
He just
Alright.
throws his scythe.
No, as you got close, they were like 50 feet away when you were off, like kind of like heading towards the dock, and then when you got about halfway, that's when everyone started noticing you.
Okay, yeah, then Necro will, instead of dropping it, he's just gonna drag it.
Okay. Is blade
Aw.
down or like the back of it?
You know, like the
As disrespectfully as possible.
yeah, like
Okay.
Just the tip.
the Necro ain't doing so good. The blade is not dragging. That's not happening. But
Okay, just the blunt back of it.
yeah,
Kind of.
yeah.
All right. It kind of curves upwards back, kind of like a tail, as you kind of drag it
Aw.
behind you.
Puppy.
Oh, he's so sad.
As you
Some guy
hear it
trips
kind of
over and
dragging,
loses a leg.
Freyola kind of steps forward a bit, kind of stepping in between you, Thulgrim, and Rana, as she kind of starts walking towards Necro, and then kind of stops about 5-10 feet from you.
Well, does she want me to talk to her?
You're just kind of standing there, kind of like her expression is a bit of like worry, but also kind of solemn as she kind of stares at you for a moment.
Um, as you can tell, Necro's feeling very on edge, and he's kind of feeling like a bad boy. So he's gonna he's
So bad.
kind of just have his hand, like his other hand out. He's gonna like gesture it like he's like spinning, like go on, like okay, well, like what do you want?
I'd feel bad too if I stole a shoe from a crab.
Yeah, I'm feeling very crabby right now. Leave me alone.
Crab
She
worked hard
hold-
for that shoe.
She kind of holds the symbol on her chest and kind of outstretches her palm towards you. She's gonna cast Calm Emotions on you.
Oh, does it work?
It depends on if you accept it.
Necro is not going to accept it, but he's not going to attack her.
Okay, give me a Wisdom saving throw.
This lady's like a legendary cleric. I'd hope you wouldn't attack her.
Saving throw for wisdom. How do I do that? Do I just roll wisdom? Hold
It
up.
should be
It's
marked
saving
on there for you. It should be under saving throws, I think.
Mhm.
I'm feeling blind right. Oh, there it is.
Okay. You feel a wave of calm aura kind of like envelop you, and just kind of like not. I mean, I was gonna say it kind of makes your heart flutter, but no, not really.
What a heart.
Yeah, it kind of just you feel like this wave of calm kind of go across you, and like that shaky feeling or that even nervous look around as you kind of like dart your eyes around. It almost feels this enveloping calmness as you feel almost like a warm kind of feeling or even like an embrace around you as you feel your nerves kind of lower.
Do I still feel my anger and bloodlust?
No, you feel quite calm,
Okay.
but it's only for a few moments, a few
Okay.
seconds.
Then
As she feels it kind of take hold, she kind of smiles warmly at you. I know you've been through a lot, Necro,
Also a rot.
yeah.
but you do not have to fear long. I have a boat. As she kind of gestures off to the sea, I have a ship, more like. We're gonna be getting into boats. As she kind of gestures to the group, and a few of the boats kind of like turned over on the dock. You and everyone involved here, as she kind of gestures to the group, are going to be wanted, tortured, binded, and killed under
Well,
the king.
Necro's gonna stop her for a second, and like kind of twist his neck again, and then twist it right back.
Who else sees this?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Deidre's gonna
What?
clap. I'm clapping.
I
Peter
think
starts
Necro-
clapping as you spin your head, I guess. And as that's happening, Freyola kind of like brings her hand to her mouth in shock as she kind of wide-eyed stares off at you, and she kind of her words kind of cut off for a moment. I had no idea. We are compatriot. She said she did her best to put you back together, but I didn't expect something this extreme.
Put him back together? What happened while we were gone?
She
Can't
kinda
you
turns.
guys see?
She turns to you, Avali. We don't have much time to explain, but I can talk while we're on the way. But I have a ship arriving, and everyone here is going to be in grave danger. And if you are not already wanted in this side of the country already, you're going to be hunted, either by the king or whoever hired hand is after this. But we have much to discuss. Are you all willing to trust me? And us, as she kind of gestures to Jack, and you see these two younger girls that are just kind of like hiding behind Jack, kind of like tugged at his pant leg as he kind of like stands kind of a bit of a defensively in front of them. Necro, you immediately recognize this as Akuma's daughters, kind of standing off. As Jack kind of stands there, kind of like deeply looking into your eyes, Necro, as you're kind of like your head kind of spins on a swivel a bit. Even Jack's expression of like smile has not necessarily left his face as his hands kind of rest on his hips. Doesn't necessarily feel in shock or indifferent as he sees your appearance. Friola kind of turns back to you again, Necro. We can take these boats. We will ride off. I don't want the ship getting too close to the shore, because if it docks or gives them more time. I explain on the way, please.
If it wasn't for her casting that, Necro wouldn't agree and would want to go and kill someone. But because she did, Necro is going to comply.
Okay.
As long as you get as far away from here, I'll trust you for now.
Far away from here. She kind of turns to you, Avali. I can get you as far as you possibly need. But first, we just need to get on that ship.
Okay, that's great and all. One Eye chimes in. Unfortunately, I don't know any of you. Where is this ship going?
It's, well, she kind of gestures to Jack and the two girls. We only just need the vessel for a few hours or so I can take the time to cast a specific spell to get us back to our planet. Up to everyone else, it's kind of up to you wherever you may go, but I do have some words to the wise and possibly some leads to possibly clear a bit of your names, and I don't necessarily want to leave some threads untied, but we don't have much time either.
Well, I look at Ruana and it's kind of, hey, what do you think? I mean, I don't know what they've got going on, but sounds like we could get a free boat out of this, make traveling a little bit easier.
I can even pay. I'm willing to put down some gold for all of your arrival, and the captain I spoke with, there will be a little bit more people than she probably agreed to, but I'm sure with a little bit of coin, she would be a little easier to talk.
Look at Thalgrim. I'd be alright with it.
I suppose
We're in for the boat ride.
She turns to you, One Eye.
I suppose I can go along. I have no desire to stay right here, I suppose.
Better than being tortured and killed, I think.
Well, certainly.
She turns face a bit and then looks back at you, Necro, as she kind of nods. Again, I'm sorry. I can explain more when we're moving, but as she does so, she starts making her way towards the flipped boats on the dock, and Jack starts making in tandem with her and kind of flips a couple of these rowboats over. There's two of them here. They should be able to fit most of everyone. She kind of turns to you, Thalgrim. is that goat of yours gonna be okay in the boat?
Are there any that are pulled ashore?
Bugger's a tough one. He's alright.
There's I mean, you don't see necessarily that are sitting on the shore, but there's just kind of a few just laying upside down with
In the
tarps
sand.
on them on the dock that could be
Okay.
tossed over. Like if you dragged them over to the dock end, you could probably just drop them into the sea from this level.
Yeah. I was just trying to think if we needed at least one more boat. Are there any
Mm.
larger ships that just have a lifeboat that's just unattended?
If you want to give me a perception or investigation, go for it.
Nope.
Damn, that
You
one
kind of,
eye
like-
is hurting you.
You kind of look over, and it's kind of hard to see. The lighthouse kind of spins around again, but with how large these ships that are kind of anchored here, it's kind of hard to really tell from this distance.
Hmm. Well, I can help with the boats that they're currently flipping.
Okay. You can easily help. Is anybody else helping move and flip these boats over?
Happily will help.
Okay.
No thanks, I'm good.
All right.
Me and Bugger will do our best to help out.
As you guys like help Friola as she's like, kind of tossing this tarp over, you just see Jack kind of like grab one of the boats with like the tarp and just like chucks it over one by himself and onto the sea. And didn't even like fully flip it over. Oops.
Damn, Auntie, you hitting that?
She blushes back over you. We talked about this. It's the cloth and not the. She just covers her face a bit as she flips the boat over back into the sea, and she kind
It's the
of
sheepskin.
she ties takes out a long rope out of her satchel and then ties it off to the side of the dock and starts lowering herself down into one of the boats. She takes it down. She gets into one of them and she tries her best to try to flip the other one that's a little bit now starting to get submerged by Jack as Jack kind of like leaps down with both of the girls like on his shoulders as he lands down into the rowboat with Friola.
I'm actually going to secure everything that I have on me, like tighten straps and whatnot. Make sure all
Okay.
my pouches are secure.
All right.
Throw sword and shield into one hand, and then just dive into the water.
Okay. You dive into the water just fine. As you kind of hit the water, you see like this thick layer of like algae and like lily pads that kind of like slowly move away from where you've kind of landed in the water and kind of submerged. These large lily pads kind of like spreading across with these lotus petals that are now closed. You feel a couple like fish kind of like running through your legs for a moment as they kind of dart off in different directions.
Yeah, that's my
Happily
head.
will stop him.
Follow me.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Water Ganassi.
You just leap back into the water then?
Yep.
Okay. Are you guys both gonna start swimming, or are you actually getting into a
No.
boat?
I'm getting into a boat.
Okay.
I don't have a swim speed, so
Okay.
I just like the water.
Jack will extend his hand to help you back into one of the boats.
I'll take it. Appreciate it. And I just
Okay.
climb up.
Yeah, he lifts you and puts you back into the boat. Everyone else, I believe, Deidre, Necro, Rana. Jack kind of like looks curiously up at you, Thulgrim. I can catch the goat if you'd like.
He went to the bathroom.
That's okay.
He throws the goat.
It
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
drag
him.
Necro with me though, because I have questions.
Okay. Well, you can actually talk to him while everyone's like jumping
Okay.
off and like
While
getting
we're-
situated.
Yeah.
You have a few moments.
Okay, I'm gonna walk up to him and I'm gonna examine him. I'm assuming his stitches are fairly visible on what skin he has showing.
Actually, to you, you do not see these stitches. But
Boo!
as you approach, something is like. Actually, give me a perception check.
Find in perception. 17.
Okay. as you kind of slowly approach and kind of like examine him a little bit as you get closer to him, and being a lot closer, it gives you a little bit better of an idea, but it's something feels like strange, like weird, or almost like slightly off to him, and you're not really sure what it is, but the moment the lighthouse light kind of like curves around again and kind of illuminates you and him both for only a brief moment, you don't see a shadow that reflects off a Necro, but in weird points of his body, almost for a second, you swear you see almost like threads, like an invisible marionette, kind of like above him, almost like these threads that go off and dissipate into the air above his head. And then they just kind of disappear as the light goes away.
Yeah, that confirms it. So, you got a big secret from us, huh, buddy? Dietrich kind of pats his shoulder.
Necro's very calm right now.
Very true.
He's not gonna react to anything right now because he's calm.
Okay. You have like a few more seconds will pass and that wears off.
Okay.
Doesn't last long.
Is that before or after the pet?
I would say after.
Okay, well then, if the pet happened, then Necro will just ignore it.
Okay.
Cool. So, your secret's safe with me, just know that. On another topic, 'cause it's just us, conversating back and forth, even though I'm doing all the talking. You were in a dream of mine, and I spoke to someone pretty rad. Not sure if this is all real, but, you were there and it's bugging me. So if you want to talk, actually say words, you let me know.
Necro gives her a thumbs up.
That's progress. I'll take it. Also, that head trick, how'd you do that?
Are we like, where exactly are we?
You guys are kind of just standing off the lip of this dock as everyone's just slowly but surely like hopping into these boats as you watch as Thulgrim just kind of like holding like Bugger's legs and both arms, kind of like holding him for a moment. He kind of stands still and then he just walks him over to the edge a little bit. Jack kind of brings his arms up and he's like, "Don't worry, I got him." And then he drops him for a moment and then you see he kind of like fireman catches him over his shoulder and then puts him down into the boat as it kind of rocks back and forth with a little bit more weight now onto it.
Okay, who all is like able to look at us right now? That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, it seems like most people have their back to you unless you're looking at them, Rana, as they're conversating.
Yeah, I'm watching the interaction.
Okay.
All right.
You see this
do I
woman
notice,
just kind of standing
do I
at you.
notice that she's watching?
Well, she's not hiding it, I don't think.
Not
She's
staring hardcore, but just listening in.
Yeah, she's not necessarily looking over at you, but definitely has an ear.
All right. Well, Necro's gonna do another cool parlor trick, and instead of twisting his head, he's gonna actually like set his sight down real quick for a second.
Okay.
And then he's gonna do the good old lift his head up and then put it back down.
No, don't put it back down yet. I want to look inside you.
That's not happening.
It's a very weird sensation. This is the first time you've lifted your head off your shoulders, and it just feels like you've grown like a whole foot for a second as you lift your hands in the air, and then you just plop it back down onto your shoulders again.
I've never wanted to hit something with my mate or with my flails so bad.
Well, you weren't seeing it.
You don't see this.
Oh, okay, cool.
You watch as Jack kind of catches Bugger and sets him into the boat as Jack kind of gestures over to you. Do you want to hop down, or you want me to try catching you too, there, dwarf?
I want him to catch me.
Okay. He preps to holding his arms out, ready to catch you.
Go for it.
All right. Are you hopping off, or are you just kind of falling off?
I'm hopping off.
All right. He hops off. I'm gonna actually roll for this one since you're going for a hop.
Do I need to roll acrobatics or anything?
Yeah, let's see how graceful that is.
He's trying to do a cannonball into his arms.
All right. Oh god, that's a 4.
Oh god, you go to leap and you feel one of your bootstraps kind of catch the edge of the lip of the dock as like a part of the wood kind of gives way a bit. As you fall, you kind of like head over tea kettle a bit, and then you kind of like he kind of sees you're kind of awkwardly falling forward, but he rolled pretty well, and you feel like you're definitely gonna fall into the water. He kind of an awkward grab, and he kind of grabs you at the ankles, but still hovering your head right above the sea as your beard kind of like cascades down a little bit and kind of licks the top of the water as he kind of just holds you suspended over the sea and then kind of like awkwardly sets you down into the boat.
I was about to say, he should just casually dunk you like a donut and then put you in the boat.
Gotta be more graceful when you're jumping off there.
I never claimed to be a gymnast.
True.
Can you put me down?
Sure. In the sea?
No.
He kind of he like loosens his grip a little bit, and you feel like it slide to the base of your boots for a moment, and then sets you down into the boat.
I'd rather stay dry, if that's okay. We're not the
We'll
best.
try our best.
We're not the best of swimmers.
But are you the best at rowing? As he hands you an oar.
Just the classic dwarf move. I flex and brag about how, just to display how strong I am.
Jack, in turn, also smiles and kind of nods at your physique, and then he flexes himself as you see these like rippling deltoids and just like absolute mastercraft of a body.
Yeah,
Okay,
Auntie's
well.
totally getting that.
Okay, well, I didn't need to be shown up like that.
And then as he kind of sees that disheartened look on your face a little bit, and he kind of like taps his chest and then taps yours. You will be strong like me one day. I can see it in you. It's
I don't want to acknowledge it.
Okay. Jack kind of looks back up, and Freyola kind of looking over at who's on the dock, which is just Deidre, Necro, and Rana as well.
I'm gonna poke Viola.
As you poke Freyola kind of like turns face to you. Yes, dear.
I'm sorry to bother you, but do you know healing magic?
I do.
I'm gonna lean down and roll up my pant leg, showing off the bite I got from the monkey. Do you think you could help me?
Oh, of course, dear. And she actually, she like hesitantly grabs her staff for a moment, but you watch as she takes this small satchel off her hip, and you watch as she like Mary Poppins styles shoves her staff into the bag, and then she reaches elbow deep into her bag for a moment, and kind of you hear the sound of like jiggling objects as she pulls out a health potion and hands it to you.
Commence the jiggling.
Thank you. Emily takes it and downs it.
Okay. That's a D8 plus your Constitution modifier. Nice. Ooh.
2. Where's my Constitution?
As she hands that off to you, she kind of looks up at the three kind of standing on the dock. Are you hopping down, or do you want to climb? I left the rope there.
Can Uncle Jack catch me, please, Auntie?
She kind of looks up at you, and it's just like her eyes kind of like roll a bit, and she's like, yes. Yeah, that is what he's here for. And she kind of like, Jack kind of like stands up again and like pats his lap, and I can get you.
I'm gonna do a little like fist pump, and I'm gonna run and then leap into his arms.
Acrobatics check.
Oh damn it! 7.
All right, another graceful leap as you start. You kind of like fist bump into the air very triumphantly as you hop down. You feel like you got a good distance, but then you feel like you're over jumping it as you got a little bit of that head start run, and you feel yourself going over the other side of the boat as. Let me see if he actually tries to catch you or not.
Come on, Jack. Come get me, strong boy.
You see him go to as surprisingly as he just gets caught off guard as he starts turning to go face on the opposite side of the boat to try to catch you, and you feel his hands kind of slip off one of your palms as you slam into the ocean.
Oh.
You okay there?
At least my dress is washed now.
Yeah, Jack kind of like rubs the back of his head nervously as he like extends a hand down to you. Sorry about that. I didn't expect you to go for a whole leap.
It's all good.
He
I'm just
pulls
gonna
you
take
into
his.
the Okay, he pulls you into the boat, just sopping wet. As you do so, Friola just kind of shakes her head and kind of giggles to herself for a minute as you see her pull out a wand as she kind of waves it as you watch as like the dirt and the water kind of just goes away from your dress and you become completely clean and dry.
Oh,
As she
I'm
winks at
Cinderella.
you.
Thank you.
No problem. Not the first time someone's gotten wet.
I'm sure it hasn't.
She kind of elbows you a bit.
Auntie, you're naughty. I love it.
She giggles a bit. And then she looks up at the dock again. Just you two?
There are 2 boats.
Correct.
One has a goat in it.
One has a goat in it. The other one has Jack, Friola, Deidre, Fulgrim, and the other kids are with the goat on the other boat.
I'll go in the boat with Jack and all them.
Okay.
But I'll climb down the rope instead
Alrighty.
of trying to jump because I know that's not gonna end well.
Okay. As you start climbing down the rope, which is pretty easily for you, Jack kind of holds the boat steady and holding the rope as well to keep it as steady as possible as you kind of step it down into it. And as you do so, he kind of just carefully. You've all seen Jack's strength a bit, but you haven't seen how like agile he can be. And as he kind of leaps from the boat, from your boat to the other boat to land with the bugger and the kids, it's very graceful and almost no motion to the boat as well as he leaps across as he lands down and plants his feet firmly in the ground and grabs both of the oars as he starts kind of turning face. And you see now the ship that was off on the horizon a little bit is definitely a lot closer now, about easily 100 feet out as he starts beginning to row a little bit. And as he's starting to row, just kind of to position his boat outward to start making his way, Jack kind of looks up at you, Necro, standing on the dock. Come on, Scarecrow Man.
Necro is. Oh, hold on. I want to fake jump. I want him to think I'm going to jump in there.
Into his boat?
Yes. Wait,
Okay.
did he actually start rowing?
No, he just turned the boat to have it face like when he can start to row. Like all the boats are like easily hop-inable like from your direction, but you can definitely tell the boat to the left-hand side of you is definitely full. As that's why Jack kind of jumped to the other boat.
Yeah. I want to fake jump to Jack. And I don't know if I need to roll anything to try to convince him. But I want to do it so quick and then just stop abruptly and just climb down into the boat.
Okay, you can easily give me a deception.
We got a 15.
Okay, everyone kind of like looking up at Necro as he kind of like looks like he's in the like the bounding spring position as he's about to kind of like about to leap it down into the boat near Jack as he kind of like awaits his grasp. And as Jack's about to stand up to go like get the idea to try to catch Necro, Necro just comedy act, just like stops full spring and then just starts climbing down the rope casually.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab my weapon on the way down.
Okay. Yeah, Jack keeps the boat quite still for you if you want to just clamber in.
Yeah, am I climbing into the one with the kids?
Yeah, the kids and the goat and Jack.
That's perfect.
As you climb in, the kids kind of nervously look over at you, and as you get in, Jack's kind of the closest to you as he starts beginning to row. And as he kind of you sit next to him, your appearance doesn't necessarily shake him at all. As he kind of just warmly smiles at you, and the kids kind of like almost move even more away from you as far as the boat can allow on the opposite edge of you. And in the middle of you all is Bugger, just calmly munching down on something in his mouth as he kind of like looks at you for a moment and just bah.
Well,
Oh, I guess I would be in that boat too, huh? Since he helped me out of the water.
He helped you into out of the water on the other boat, but
Okay.
I mean, if you want to transfer to the other one, you can.
No, I have no real preference. I was just curious.
Yeah, he helped you onto that one and then jumped to the other one. So
Gotcha.
yep. All right. Everyone's got their seats, and Thulgrim, you're helping row on that boat. Who else is helping Thulgrim on that one? It could be either
Anyone? Any takers?
Any takers? Possibly
Nope.
the sailor.
Wait, what was this?
I'm not-
Who else needs? Someone else has to be manning the other oar on the opposite side.
Oh yeah, that'd be me. Easy.
Okay. Yeah. You can easily grasp the oar that's on kind of hanging off the side and begin to row as Jack kind of starts rowing on his own. He doesn't necessarily need another person as he starts rowing.
I was gonna point at the kids to help him.
Okay. As he starts like he like goes, he has one oar in his hand, and you point to the other kids, and he kind of just like looks over at you and kind of like questionably, he's like, "I got it," and he grabs the other oar with his other hand and kind of almost moved as he gets in the middle of the boat a bit to command both these oars. The goat kind of like takes his spot and sits next to you, Necro.
I'll find some sort of like hay or anything that I think the ram wants to eat. I'll give it something.
I don't know if you got any hay on you, but you definitely got some seaweed kind of hanging off you if you want to try to give him that.
Yep.
Okay. You kind of just like gesture it off to Bugger.
Yep.
Okay. Give me an animal handling check.
Where is? Give me a second. We got a 14.
Bugger kind of like sniffs it for a moment, and then just kind of quietly starts chewing on it.
Okay. I'm not gonna give him any more.
Okay. He just eats kind of one and just kind of swallows
Give
it.
him more.
And then as he swallows it, he sees other seaweed on you, and you don't really offer to him. So he just, as you're like slowly not necessarily looking off to him, his mouth kind of just quivers a bit as he starts making his way to your robes and starts chewing on more of the seaweed that's hanging off of you.
He's chewing on my rope.
No, he's just chewing off the seaweed that's hanging on your robes
Oh, that's fine.
that you didn't offer him.
I'll just give it to him at that point.
Okay.
If he was chewing on my robe, though, Bugger and I would have some problems.
He just
Wanna
keeps
die today.
he just happily kind of hums to himself
gonna
as
die
he
again.
starts chewing on the seaweed, and then it occasionally belches and bah. And then as he does that, Jack kind of smiles at you, and Necro, and over to Bugger, and she's like, making quick friends, I see.
Yeah, Necro's just going to ignore him on that comment.
Okay. Jack starts making his starts rowing. Unless One Eye and Thulgrim, you want to get ahead of him? Do you guys want to row first?
How? Going. What would we roll for that?
You don't necessarily. I won't have you roll. It's just if you guys want to get a pull ahead of him and just be like the lead to the ship, you can, or you can have Jack lead it. Up to you.
Necro? Or not Necro. One Eye? Alright, I guess we're just letting him leave.
Okay. So Jack starts rowing, and as you guys kind of just follow in tandem towards the ship, as the ocean itself is kind of just, it's not necessarily too wild or moving frantically. It's pretty calm. The waters seem calm at the moment as the moon kind of just hovering above, the occasional lighthouse spinning around, illuminating you all and the ship off in the distance. But as you get farther and farther out away from the docks, the rolling of the fog becomes really, really thick and almost like almost fully encompasses the entire ship, and it's almost kind of hard to see. But if you didn't already see it where it was kind of like sitting out on the horizon a bit, as you start making your way out to it, Riola kind of looks off towards you, Deidre, and everyone kind of sitting in the boat. Well, we're making our way just fine, and so far, so good. So hopefully we don't run into any more issues, but it seems like a good time than any. But it seems in a weird twist of fate that one of our friends, a long time ago, we met her, and with our other friend, they used to be a bit entangled with one another. Wee Jaws was her name, and her old friend, and they were in a kind of relations, and as we were friends long ago, and would have a little bit of history together. She's quite informative. She can almost weirdly see beyond what can be perceived as time, I guess you could say. Like a weird fortune teller, really. But she's not necessarily been wrong, if you trust my words on that. But it seems that there possibly could be another calamity upon us. And as strange as it might seem, it seems a lot of your fates also collide with this. And I fear the worst.
What is the calamity?
Well, about 106 years ago or so, a great serpent from the sky came down and tried to devour the gods, and as she kind of gestures to the large tree of the Acidio Lyria kind of slowly but surely fading off as the fog kind of rolls in. It's kind of obscured, but the light from it, as the kind of bounces off of the actual forest line itself, this large serpent tried to devour that tree and the gods themselves once, and she kind of inhales deeply as she kind of does like 100-yard stare a bit out into the sea as she looks down into it and then back at the sky again. We were able to stop it long ago, but we feared that the king, for some reason, whether it's jealousy of the gods or his ill-will nature, I'm not really sure. He is also just badgered by the past and the gods themselves and their decisions. I don't necessarily know his intent, but when we arrived here, we gotten word that one of Jack's deities, the Earth Mother, was worried that her children, as she kind of gestures to the kids in the boat opposite to you all that are kind of like now facing you a bit as they look off towards you. They're two of the kids embraced, kind of holding on to each other as Jack continues to row the boat. They were in danger, and even said that Ouija said they were going to be executed by the king, and we couldn't have that, and that's the whole reason why we came here. And in doing so, when Jack saved this city of Illyria a long time ago, he agreed to give the old king there a boon to kind of lay, I don't know, give off the playing field a bit of a wager of, or a more of a weird barter, I guess you could say. He felt bad, you see, when we attacked and tried to help the people, and in turn it took away a lot of lives, and we promised this kingdom that Jack would be able to possibly save them or help them in any way with said boon, and Jack gave that up to keep these two girls safe, and in turn detrimented us all and possibly gave a bounty onto Jack's head, and for some reason the king sought that we would be fumbling in his plans to bring on the calamity once again onto these lands. He only wants death for all, and for some strange reason he doesn't want the gods there either, and almost to put himself above them. He wants to almost become a god himself, but have no gods above us either. I don't really understand why someone would be so selfish. But we heard that the king has set off a party of sorts, a group of aligned bandits and thieves to go out to the deepest parts of the unknown continent to, I believe, what me and Jack have surmised, that we believe, it's only a theory honestly, that the king somehow has obtained some type of either physical form or body or blood of an old god that was slayed long ago, and possibly forcing and feeding this blood and flesh to the natives of the unknown land. I don't know why, but it has a weird effect upon them, and in doing so, we found out that this group, led by a man called Dorn, or known in the black market times, the Sight Taker, a weird man and a strange collective of himself and dark necromantic abilities, to take his small party of 6 out onto a ship. Actually, the same ship we're about to board. This party of 6 went out and decided to go towards the northern east plateau of the unknown continent, and made their way through the thickets of the jungles and the forest, and brought these either canisters or possible, I believe, canisters of this god's blood. I'm not really sure on the details, but these are all but visions that we've also shared, that Ouija's have showed us. Not necessarily a lot of the details, I'm sorry, but we also saw images of you all, as she gestures to the group. I don't know exactly your part in this, but I fear that no matter how hard it might be, you will be entangled into this weird web of fate. But first of all, me and Jack, we're just going to get on this ship, gives us some time to cast our spell to get to our planet to keep these girls safe, and then we will come back in a week's time to possibly hunt down this group and stop this calamity. But we were hoping, as she kind of looks everyone on the boat that she's kind of around, and Deidre and One Eye as she kind of gestures to everyone, we were hoping you could help us. You don't owe us anything, obviously, and you can just chalk it up to madness if you'd like. But this is more of a warning, and this is all I can necessarily give. But please take it as the truth.
No,
Truth
I'm
or
in.
not, you had me at Dorn.
You and Big Bird saved me. I'm in.
You know this name, Dorn. She gestures to you, One Eye.
Well enough.
Well, interesting that might be. My apologies if you've run into him before. He's not necessarily the most nicest fellow. We've tracked him as far as we possibly could, and then when we got to the city of Illyria, we gotten word that him and the party went out about a week ago or so, and by that time we were able to ascertain that they gotten paid to basically ride the ship by this captain named Daria Mortimer, and she we talked with her for a bit of movement while she was tied off in Trencher about weeks prior, and said that she took those 6 out onto the eastern unknown continent, and we just gathered and surmised that information and then went from there, and we were hoping that the best that we could do is possibly intercept, but by that time and getting the girl safe, we worry that we won't have as much time, and to implement that time, I feel like it would be best that possibly, if you all agree, to head off after them. We can come back to help, obviously, but we just need a little bit more time.
I don't think I'd be of much help to you.
She turns to you. That's fine. You don't necessarily have to go, but do you have a place you need to be?
Not really, but could I possibly go with you and Jack?
She kind of sits up straight a little bit and then looks over to Hyde as well, as Hyde kind of like now feeling a little bit more slack and comfort towards everyone since everyone's being more openly honest. Hyde even kind of hovers above the boat a bit and kind of looks over. Do you think you can possibly heal me as well? Hyde kind of just looks over at Friola as he kind of notices the clerical abilities and the renounced kind of the weight of everything kind of setting in. She kind of Friola looks over up at Hyde and then back down to you, Avali. If you'd like, I can easily take you back with us. We have a temple,
Thank you.
my family's temple, and it will keep you safe and even far off from here, as far as you need to go. And she gestures back up to Hyde. And you seem bothered or even cursed by your own flesh. We have great healers and clerics where I'm from, and with months' time, I can see us easily healing you. Hyde kind of nods, not necessarily feeling fully confident in her words, but when you kind of agree, Avali as well, Hyde just his confidence kind of is immediately boosted by that as he kind of just nods frantically.
Sounds like a deal. I'll do whatever work you need me to do.
Well, we'd be glad to have you. It wouldn't be too much of a problem. I just need about 3 hours or so on this ship, and when we arrive, then I just need to sit down and concentrate for a bit as I cast this, and by that time we can just disappear, and we'll be long gone, and back in a week's time, obviously.
Do I have to come back too?
You don't have to. It's not your right to bear.
Thank you so much.
She kind of gestures to Jack as he continues to row. We have a bit of a responsibility here, and honestly, we don't like leaving anything unfinished.
Understandable.
But we can heal your friend and keep you safe. It's what we do best. As she says that, she kind of grips the holy symbol on her chest. About this time, you guys are about easily 20 feet away from this boat, and as the fog kind of dissipates a bit, you see this 100 foot by let's see, what's the exact measurements on this? It's about 100 foot by 20 foot large vessel. A beautifully carved dark wood hull and bow with a beautiful inlays and a fixed and looks like a average ship from a distance, but as you get closer now, you can see like uh, these metal looking like inlays in the bow and almost like a reconstruction of like support beams and metal inlays that kind of go throughout the bow of the ship and kind of go around. And as you get even closer, you see this like as the light of the lantern of the lighthouse continues to spin, this weird one-eye. You've never seen this before. It's weird. It's like a reinforced ship almost, and on the actual lip of the ship and on the edges, you can see these like almost like metal tracks, kind of like uh, welded into the sides and then off to the edges, kind of like a rail system almost on top of this ship. And as you get even closer, you can see this large metal, what looks like a three-pronged cannon sitting on the front of it with these large barrels and like engraved with these like strange runes. And you see as well this dark knotted wood on this ship. As it gets even closer, it looks quite old but very sturdy and reinforced. um, you see this kind of movement above the ship as well as you guys get even closer now. Uh, as you get about 5 to 10 feet, as Jack kind of turns his boat with to kind of like get to the side of the large ship, you see a rope ladder kind of unfurl itself from the side as you see a humanoid shape kind of a little hard and obscured by the mist and the fog kind of rolling over, peering down at all of you on these boats. You see a humanoid shape just kind of peering over and these bright eyes flickering. And if you would like to describe Daria's appearance.
She's a very tall human, a bit on the shorter side. Her eyes are a glowing pink, and her hair is like a misty blue. And she's wearing loose-fitting ship attire.
You see this gaunt-looking woman, and almost with the fog rolling around her, she almost looked ghost-like, like an undead, like kind of a banshee almost, kind of looming over the rope ladder, kind of looking down over all of you as the boats begin to like creak and kind of like gently tap the side of the ship as her hand extends down as the rope ladder kind of unfurls and kind of sits into the you watch as it plops into the actual sea a bit as it kind of just floats there. Jack immediately starts climbing up. Well, first he grabs each one of the kids and sets them onto the ladder as they start climbing up with Jack in tow. And Jack will fling Bugger onto his back, fireman carry, as he one-handed starts going up the ladder as the kids kind of like follow up above him.
Daria tries to help everyone into the ship when they get to the top of the ladder.
Okay, you see these two younger-looking red-headed girls kind of like you extend your hand, and they just kind of nervously reach out theirs as they accept yours as you kind of get you help them onto the ship. Jack, do you extend your hand to Jack as well?
Yeah.
Okay, he grabs your hand and then kind of you feel yourself like pulling him up, but it's just mostly him just taking your hand and like pulling himself up as you see this large ram on his shoulders, kind of just like bug-eyed, kind of like looks over at you and just bah at you as it kind of like he kind of clinks and clacks all off onto the actual ship itself, and then gets his firm feet hold as he kind of stands on top of the actual lip of the ship. Ah, you must be the captain then.
Yeah. Is that a goat?
Yeah, well, I'll have Friola talk to you about this. I know this is a little bit more people than you expected, but she can pay for this. I'm not allowed to carry the money anymore.
I don't have any food for a goat.
Friola kind of pipes up as she stands in the boat. I have food for him, and I have plenty of gold to pay for you. I'm so sorry about this sudden group of people. I know it was only supposed to be us and the kids, and a lot's happened since we last spoken. As she starts climbing up the rope ladder, and then gestures to everyone else in the boat. Come on up, good guy. You can come on up, guys.
Okay. Well, if we're gonna have this many people, we'll have to make a stop sometime soon.
That will not be necessary. I have the plenty of supplies on me. If you need them, please, we can discuss this as soon as we get on the ship. If we can possibly leave soon.
Okay, we'll leave soon.
Thank you, Captain. Captain Daria Mortimer, correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
me.
All right. It's been a while since we've talked, but I just wanted to make sure. It's been a very long night. She kind of wipes the sweat off of her brow a bit, and as she starts making her way up the rope ladder, is everyone else making their way up as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack's gonna help me, right? Because he's right there.
He actually got up the rope ladder before you, so you're probably
Yeah.
like the last one in the boat.
Yeah. I'm gonna let him help me up.
And I can actually show you guys this boat.
Oh heck yeah.
The
Jack me
boat!
off.
So this is the boat,
Oh wow.
and
Wow.
you can see right here. This is like the rail system. You can see on the top. Obviously, this is the same of the quarter deck. This is just shows the lower part of the quarter deck, but this is basically the top of the ship right here. And this is where you see the the three-barreled cannon as well, and you see Daria standing right here as well. As you're kind of getting up on the ship as well, and Jack kind of plants his feet down. Oh, I already had a mini for you, but I can delete this one. If everyone wants to put down their tokens as well, you can, so you can have a better understanding where you're all at. But the rope ladder's about right here on the deck of the ship. As you all start getting up on it, as you all start clambering upward as well. Is anybody tying off the boats, or are we just letting them go?
Drag my token.
Oh, I am definitely not doing anything with the boat. Jack's got this 100%. Good man.
Okay, you watch as Jack continues to
Oh.
climb up with.
I am absolutely watching. It's very interesting to see him do it so quickly.
I would
Okay.
tie off the boat as well. The one that I was rowing.
Mickey man.
All right, you see Jack doesn't
How you
really
do? How you do?
care about the boat that he was in as it kind of just slowly starts going away from the ship itself. The other one, as you tie it off, one eye, quite skillfully as well.
Actually, would there be a lifeboat hoist?
There is easily when you go over to it, you can actually see it hanging off, and you can actually easily use that if you'd like.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring it on deck.
Okay. You can, as she sees, actually, Daria, as you see that, you can easily assist One Eye if you want to help bring up one of those rowing boats if you'd like.
Got
You
your
already have
spare.
one. You have one on the deck as well, but now you have a spare.
Nice.
Okay. You watch as One Eye, as you see this other, this woman kind of, you feel almost like a bit of a kinship, as you can see she is quite skilled in the same seafaring ideals as you both pull up this rowboat. And as doing so, you all can now see the top of this ship as well. You can see this metal track that kind of goes around bits and parts of the top of the ship as well. And you see different equipment and like mounted ballistas, and that are all set up with these like weird tracks that can be like placed onto the tracks, and with these like pins and different like slight like clicking machinery that can go and like move across these rails. And as you get onto the ship, you hear the sound of like metal against metal as you see what looks like a half of a torso of a automaton on the rail that is navy blue in color. It has a head like a box, kind of, and weird runic wiring lights that kind of uh, shape onto its screen-like head that give off just a mild looking expression, like two lines and just a long middle line for a mouth, as it just has a mild expression. And you see its navy blue kind of coloration of this like metal that's kind of like definitely sunburnt and like blotched out of the paint that kind of flakes off of its metal hands that are very intricate, but its actual torso is just stuck onto this rail that kind of has a wheel on these rails that kind of like travels across, and it goes from what looks like the helm and begins to ride the rail over to nearby the captain, and salutes and brings its hand down. Hello. Welcome
Everyone,
aboard.
this is Kilroy. Kilroy, everyone.
Oh my god, we've died and gone to the future.
It's not the future. He's actually kind of old.
That's kind of rude, but okay, poor Roy.
It's salutes again, and then that you watch as she says that, it goes from a mild expression, and it's the runes on its face. Well, its weird intricate board kind of moves, and then it makes it like a really weird smiley face.
Oh,
Pleasure to be your assistant.
so what does this thing do?
He helps me navigate the ship.
Captain, do you want me to move the ship?
Yes, please. Right away.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe this is everyone, right?
Yes, ma'am. It begins to curve off as it goes and rides the rail back to the helm and just scoots back, and as you feel the jolt of the ship beginning to turn, Friola kind of steps down and kind of walks over to you, Daria. Well, about the payment, and she kind of reaches into a sack kind of off to her hip, and pulls out like a rectangle that's kind of wrapped in a cloth, and takes off the cloth and like rewraps it, and actually shows you it's a thick, solid bar of gold with a dragon insignia carved and melded onto the top of it.
I'm gonna take it and examine it.
You can give it an investigation if you'd like. As Friola kind of hands it off to you, don't worry, it's 100% authentic. It is. I haven't necessarily gotten it scaled out, but the last person I asked about it, it'd probably come up to about roughly 800,000 gold.
Good enough, I suppose.
She kind of clasps her hands together. Thank you so much. I appreciate your kindness, and I understand it's a bit much having more people onto the boat, but the ship, my bad, but we needed time, that's all. Do you have a room for us to kind of sit down for a moment?
Yep, I got some rooms on the lower deck that you can sit in, or there's also the kitchen. Or you can pretty much sit anywhere, I don't really care.
One Eye, as you look across this ship is tip-top shape. It is very clean. It is very seaworthy. It is even more reinforced than a lot of the ships that you've seen and traded with. And now that you think about it, you'd never really seen a ship so like heavily like edited. It looked like, as you kind of like run your fingers and looking at the actual bow of the ship and looking at the, if you get more deep into the ship, you could possibly surmise that this was kind of like a rebuild, almost like the original hull was like an older model, and then on top it was like almost revamped and like edited a bit.
Okay.
Just by the darker wood that it was carved out of from the lower, you can tell that this ship has seen many years of the sea, but you can definitely tell more towards like certain add-ons and stuff are definitely a lot newer. Kind of just a little bit of a gloss on top of an old frame, but it has a very strong old frame.
Gotcha. So after I give it a once over, I'll just call out, Captain,
Yes.
what is this vessel's name?
You haven't heard of it?
No, I haven't. Actually, I could roll history if you want.
No, I'm just joking. It's the Sambor.
The Sandbore.
Yep. You got a problem with it?
No, just wanted to make sure I heard you right.
Alrighty.
Riola starts making her way to the lower deck, and easily gets to the second floor, lower deck of the ship. And is anyone else following her, or is she just going on his own?
Probably is following. She doesn't want to get left behind.
Okay. Hyde is kind of in tandem with you as well. If anybody wants to explore the ship, just give me a shout out what you would like to look or investigate at.
I'm probably gonna just assist with, sailing things.
If you want to make your way, if you want to make your way over to the helm, you can. Where you saw the automaton kind of zip off towards.
You can.
He'd be back at the helm.
Just whatever they would need me to do.
Okay.
Alright, go up there too.
Yeah, whether that be like adjusting sails or manning the helm, whatever the hell.
As you start walking around One Eye, it's kind of strange. This is a very large ship, and then you don't really see any other crew besides the automaton. But as you start walking around, and you're like, "Oh, we should start furling the sails, start setting up everything." And as you're like thinking that, you watch as like a rope nearby starts unfurling itself, and then you watch as the rope starts beginning to become taut, and then the sails open, and you watch as a bunch of other things start moving kind of on their own, as you watch as a few crates begin to be pushed and shoved, and you watch as an actual crate gets lifted and a barrel as well starts making its way by itself down the stairs to the lower deck. And now you see or even hear the sounds of like someone or something walking around you, but not really seen. As you watch and even hear the sounds of hands in tandem walking up ladders and unfurling sails and positioning and tightening ropes, as you watch these knots beginning to knot themselves, as you watch as like even the anchor being pulled up by itself.
I suspect I am not needed.
Daria's gonna head into her room to hide the gold.
Okay. You usually walk into your room, you see a large bed on your right-hand side, you see a table off to the side with one of your more comfortable chairs and other wooden chairs. You see off as well here, you have more storage space, and then you have your privy as well. Yeah, more of your crates and some bookshelves off to the side full of maps and logs, and just scattered documents and trades. And you also have your logbook as well for different when you come into port and tracking of everything that you possibly can. As you do so, you walk forward. Are you sitting down, or are you just stowing that gold away?
I'm gonna stow it and I'm gonna write in the book.
Okay. As you go over to your desk and you stand off to the side, the chair itself pulls itself out and you sit down in it, and it pushes you up to the table as well. Avile, as you start making your way down with Friola, you see these floating boxes and crates kind of like walking past you, or kind of like the sounds of people walking past, but these objects begin to like hover in the air as if someone is holding them but unseen. And you see Friola kind of like looking around and kind of wide-eyed a bit, and then she kind of leans over to you. What do you think so far? Ghost, huh?
I don't know about ghosts.
Yeah, it's not necessarily ghosts, but I love the idea of it. These are actually unseen servants.
Oh, I
Have
think I've
you seen
heard
them
those
before?
before.
You have? Yes, they are
Yeah.
quite useful. Especially with this beautiful ship. I'm sure it takes a lot to manage. I saw some
I
other
can imagine.
runes also etched into some of the hull, and when you came in, I've even seen some odd older runes even notched into some of that what looks like the rails as well.
I don't know much about runes.
It's all right. I can teach you if you'd like.
Sure.
And she walks down into the lower deck here, and she actually walks into the room with all the bunks and kind of pushes the door open as she kind of looks around a bit, and this should be good. A bit of a more open space as she kind of pulls her staff out, and as she kind of walks into the room of the bunks, and she kind of pushes a table off to the side, and she actually kind of like you see her just take her staff, and like it just kind of hovers and suspends in the air as she kind of sets it there, and then she kneels down and she takes out some chalk and starts drawing graphs and runes onto the ground. And as she's making all these different circular motions and runes on the ground, and you see the familiar symbol of the rising sun in the middle of this, of different intricate polygraphs and like different like symbols. She's kind of like goes over each rune and kind of demonstrates on how you should draw them up and how precise some of them need to be for teleportation. As she kind of like just kind of talks and writes slowly and kind of just showing you different ways to write down runes. And as she's doing that, what's everybody else doing?
Can Necro see these things?
Well, I'm probably gonna finally get around to trying something.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm probably just going to go to as open a spot on the deck as I can. So probably here.
Yeah, that's an easy open spot.
I'm just gonna kind of just kneel down and put my hands on the deck, and then just try to like shut my eye, and then just gonna try to feel like I'm trying to get like a sense of like nature's energy.
Okay. You kind of
Relax.
kneel down on the deck of the ship, and if you look up, you can kind of see the automaton like slowly moving the actual wheel of the ship, and it doesn't necessarily notice you or anything like that. But as it kind of turns the ship, and you feel the moonlight kind of like cascading over the deck of the ship, and you feel like the slight cold chill of the wind as it kind of catches the sail, and you kind of go into a bit of a meditation kind of like state as you kind of kneel down there, kind of just trying to collect yourself.
So I'm just gonna try to reach out to nature spirits, anyone that would be willing to hear. Trying this several times before has gotten me no results, but I'm feeling confident.
Okay.
I've been practicing.
As you kind of kneel down and you're just like fully engaged and trying to concentrate on as much as you possibly can to kind of like tune yourself into nature itself, you feel a presence in front of you for a moment, and you see as Jack kind of kneels down across from you and just kind of gets down into a meditation kind of like stance, as much as almost mimicking you a bit. As he does so, he kind of just puts his hands down onto the deck of the ship and his eyes kind of shut as he kind of just stands off for a moment for a bit. And as he kind of stands there for a little bit longer, his eyes open and he kind of gently smiles at you and then stands again as he starts walking to the bow of the ship towards you, Necro, and then kind of just stands off to the side of you, Necro. And as he does so, you feel for a moment, One Eye, the cold chill of the sea wind blowing through you. It begins to warm. Like the air feels warmer around you. Almost like a spring breeze, almost, and the smell of the water and the sea. And the sea of the smell of the sea slowly turns into the smell of the wood, the forest. You hear the sounds of the trees. You hear the creaking of the boughs. You then, for a moment, fully concentrate in this, feeling this abrupt feeling of nature beginning to connect with you. And instill of this ideal of the smell of the wind and the wood, it turns into the smell of kind of brimstone or rock, molten heat for a moment as the wind around you becomes even warmer now. And you kind of like,
If I can interject real quick, I would
Yeah.
probably try to go back to. My character would probably try to seek going back to the ocean, like nature, like
Yeah.
in that regard. I'm more in tune with that than I am with land.
yeah. Well, as it continues to like fume around you a bit as the sea continues to crash across the boat and the moon itself begins to be obfuscated by the actual clouds. The ocean almost feels comforting to you as you feel this warmth of the breeze again, as this connection to nature almost envelops you, and you feel another presence across from you. And it's kind of feeling like it needs to be pulled or like a tug as it kind of just starts to apparate in front of you. As
All
it
right,
does,
so I get this moment of finally it worked, and I just try to latch onto that with basically magic.
mm,
The magic that I'm pulled from within me. I reach out to it.
yeah, the same sensation you got when you were younger is almost like a fish at the end of a hook being pulled. You pull as hard as you can with your mental strength as you feel the magic beginning to envelop you as the beast begins to form in the air, as you see a glistening, shining metal serpent begins to hover in the air in front of you for a moment as its eyes glisten and its scales begin to shine and glimmer like a almost like a flashy hook off of bait for a fish. It kind of looks at you and stern with its drake-like appearance as it kind of stares its eyes beady at you for a moment as it coils in the air as it kind of turns and hisses at you as you feel this metal kind of just embrace and almost the taste of metal in your mouth as this drake kind of just hovers there and then kind of places itself down onto the deck of the ship, looking up at you.
Ah, I was expecting a beast.
And what type of beast were you expecting?
A natural one. One of the, like a sea animal. That's what I expected, but...
It kind of turns its head and looks around its surroundings for a moment. We are on the sea, aren't we?
That we are.
Close enough, I would say.
Yes. So... I'm just checking real quick. Did you respond to me bringing you here?
I'm not sure. I
Oh.
felt a pull, a drift, and a chance to be reborn in this form. As he kind of peers around you, kind of just collecting himself for a moment, and then looking back up at you. As he says this as well, these aren't in this. The way he speaks is not in common at all. As
Right, yeah.
You definitely immediately notice as it speaks. It's
Draconic exclusively.
draconic, yeah, specifically draconic to you. Necro, you and Jack kind of turn face a bit while you're kind of just hanging out, and you just see this apparate of this drake now just sitting, this small drake just sitting across from One Eye, as it speaks a language of just like almost like a mix of like, I guess,
Growls and guttural.
growls and guttural, like deep, like almost like if a serpent could speak back to
Parcel tongue. No, just kidding.
yeah, kind of weird that, but more of a guttural ancient tongue, as it kind of speaks to One Eye, and you see One Eye speaking back in that tongue, unless you speak back in common. I'm
Nope.
guessing. No, I didn't think so.
Getting in Draconic because it does not understand other languages.
Correct. As it communicates back and forth, and Jack kind of like nudges you, Necro. Can you do that?
Okay. Necro is he able to see all these people working?
As you kind of like look around, you do not see any of these unseen servants. They kind of just, you see floating boxes and crates kind of being moved, sails being unfurled, and you see a couple of like, even you feel like a presence of someone nearby you, but then you see rope kind of just start wrapping itself nearby and then tightening it again as it like does a few loops, and then you hear the sounds of footsteps walking away as well. But you don't really see anything, no.
Well, yeah, then Necro's gonna go back, like, kind of like lean towards Jack, and just do like a, huh. Like kind of like a out of shock that he's seeing this little lizard.
Yeah, Jack looks pretty shocked as well as he's kind of just looking over at this lizard, and Jack like turns back to you again. I think I need a drink. It's been a long night. And as he says that, you see him just like take his like his fingers and just like looks like he's like trying to pull something out of his chest, and as he does so, he pulls like a small fragment of like metal out of his chest and just kind of like flicks it into the sea.
He flicks metal into the sea.
Yeah, you see like what looks like a wound of like an arrowhead that he just kind of like snapped off out of his like pec, and then just pulled it out of himself and then just flicked it into the sea.
Neat.
And then he starts making his way down the same steps you saw Freyola start making her way down.
Yeah, I'm gonna join him.
Okay. You start walking down. Are you in tandem with him, or are you just kind of behind him?
No, yeah, I'm in tandem with them.
Okay. There's a lot of wide berth on these stairs as you start making your way down And as you make your way down about here, so you hear a bit of conversation as well, and you see Deidre as soon as you come. Oh wait, no, you see Deidre. You see Necro go walking down the stairs.
Okay.
One Eye, the serpent kind of appears to you, it kind of looks over at you, and then kind of hovers in the air a bit, and then kind of
Oh,
sits on your shoulder.
Thanks for being here, Mr.
Oh, he's bigger than that.
Yeah.
Have an amazing
He'd
day
be like
also.
a medium. He'd probably be like a medium-sized dog
Yeah.
in size.
It's not like he's sitting on your shoulder. It's almost kind of like him, like curled his body around the back of your neck and kind of just hovering there. And he kind of like side eyes you for a bit as both your dragon like eyes kind of peer at each other, and he kind of blinks and stares. It's a pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Pleasure to make yours as well. What is your name?
My name is Oma.
Oma. Pleasure. I just kind of quickly take a glance. I am Yarjaret Saram.
Saram. An old name.
Indeed. So I'm told.
A dragonkin like myself.
Well,
Interesting.
so I guess we'll be traveling together from now on. Granted, our DM survives.
Yeah, I'm just coughing for a bit. Excuse me.
The Batman voice killed him.
Yeah, it did. Holy crap.
You can feel free to lighten up on that if it's too rough for you.
I just had a lot of coffee.
You don't
His
have to go
voice.
full growl. You can.
His new voice. I am Batman.
I am Batman. Oma kind
Hey
of
guys,
looks.
it's me, the dragon.
It's
He
me.
just becomes
Hiss!
I remember when I was 500 years old.
he just becomes Twitch. It's me.
Oma kind of circles around you a bit, kind of just gauging your entire body and just kind of looking you over. That spear. He eyes the spear in your hand.
Yes.
An heirloom, I assume.
An ancient gift. But yes, an heirloom also.
A gift, you say?
Quite. So the story goes.
Looks to me more like a burden.
Hardly.
It kind of toothfully smiles at you. I find it quite interesting.
As do I. But then again, I only know the story of it. I don't know the truth of the story, where it really came from, but the story is quite nice.
Stories, I guess. He kind of looks over at you and then kind of like flies a little bit away from you and then kind of flies up into the air.
Okay, I'll interject real quick.
Yeah.
It's not able to fly.
Oh, I thought it could.
Not yet. It will
Oop.
later.
Oopsies. It kind
I
of
mean, since it's still in the summoning phase, I figured it'd be
I
alright. But
see.
yeah, he won't be able to fly for long.
That's fine. It kind of just hovers and then will make its way down to the ground of the deck and kind of just skitters around and then kind of gauges the ship and kind of looking it over. I am at your whim, then.
Well, happy to have you on board. probably need all the help I can get, considering our current situation.
As you say that, it kind of like stretches its talons and its body on the ship. Feels good to breathe again.
Do you
Back
know how
into the mortal
long?
coil.
How long were you gone?
It kind of curls its body like a serpent back at you as it kind of like looks back up at you. Far too long. I hovered in the Imperial Sea.
Vague. Fair enough, though.
It blinks its serpent back eyes at you as it kind of like licks the air a bit. Where are we going?
That is a good question. I have yet to figure that out. But I will inform you as soon as I get an answer.
Curious. Not even you know where we lead. Sounds fun.
I figured as much. That's why I decided to tag along. Also, the threat of death loomed, so preferred not to deal with that.
Death looms over us all.
Yes, but I'd prefer to have it later rather than sooner.
Indeed.
Well, introduction's out of the way. Shall we? And I'll start leading the way to the lower decks to follow the others.
It will. He begins to follow. As he follows as well, he kind of just his head is kind of jerking around in different directions, kind of just gauging everything that he sees and just making note of it.
All right, now I can actually put the token down. Boop.
Nice.
Oma now is here.
Necro, as you're walking down with Jack, Avali, you hear the door kind of swing open behind you as Friola is finishing up writing down all this chalk onto the ground and taking this wide berth of this entire area. Jack walks into the room with Necro in tow, and Jack kneels down to Friola. Can I borrow some of the mead that we have, or do we have anything else to drink? I'm feeling a bit peckish. Friola kind of turns to him. I think I have a few wine bottles left. And she reaches deep into another sack that's on her right-hand side and pulls out 2 big bottles of wine and hands them over to Jack.
Hold on. Jack wants some mead?
He did say that.
Oh, I've got it. I pull out my
Are you downstairs with
The
that as well?
stash.
Yeah, I'm down with Jack.
Okay. I mean, do you want to just be down in the lower deck as well?
Yeah, I'm down on the lower deck with Jack.
Alrighty.
Where's Jack Mehoff?
He's right
next
here.
to me.
Are you going in the room as well, Necro, or are you just kind of standing in the doorway?
Well, yeah, Jack's gonna get me a drink.
Okay. Yeah. As
The weird guy can't have any of my mead.
almost as Jack mentions the word mead, it's almost as Thulgrim almost like fucking appears out of nowhere. And it's just like, mead?
Door fucking kicks open.
Thulgrim, you see as you kick open the door, Jack has 2 bottles of wine and one in each hand as he turns fit to face you. And as you walk in, you kind of kick in the door and kind of gauge the entire room. Jack hands one of the bottles to you, Necro.
Let's have a dwarf's drink. I walk straight over to him with the big bottle of mead.
Mead, you say? And he, are you just handing it over, or?
I'm gonna take the first big drink of it, but after that, I'll hand it over.
Okay. He watches you take a big old gulp of it as it kind of trails down your beard a little bit, and then you hand it off. And then he takes it kindly, nods, and then takes a big old swig as well, and passes it back to you. Quite delicious.
some of the best that the brewers back home make.
Definitely tastes that way.
I just keep drinking. I've been waiting.
All right. As you keep start drinking, Jack kind of like takes his palm and just breaks the top of the wine bottle instead of popping the cork and starts chugging down one of the wines.
It's been almost 10 hours since I've drank.
Emily, you see Friola kind of just like uh, meticulously finishing up the rest of the runes on the ground, and then she gets kind of in a meditative stance, and then just kind of sits there. And as she does so, you see her place her hand on the medallion on her chest as it begins to glow. As much as the light that she already gives off, it gets almost like as 2 times as bright into this room. And as she does so, the corners of the different runes on the ground begin to create these small little flames like candlelight and just start appearing around as you see her hair beginning to suspend in the air. And her eyes open, and as her eyes open, they're just completely white. And she turns to you, Evely. I just need but a moment or 3 hours or so, and then we will go. I would
Evely,
advise you would say your goodbyes.
Evely nods and kind of shoos the boys out of the room so they don't interrupt the ritual.
Jack kind of like sees her beginning to do it and recognizes that and kind of swings his arm around Necro. Let's go finish up some of this. How about that? And starts walking out of the room with you wrapped around his arm. He starts pushing past you, Thulgrim, if you're all right with that, Necro.
Yeah. No, Necro is drinking his bottle too.
So I'm still in the room.
Well, you're in the kind of the doorway. Are you gonna like give birth for Jack and Necro to walk past?
And I'm just gonna go back up to Bugger to drink with him.
Okay, you can
Give
easily
him a
turn-
little bit of mead too.
Okay, you easily get turned face and start going back up the stairs as Necro and Jack start following behind you as they make their way back to the top of the ship. And as Jack's climbing the stairs, he takes another swig of the wine and kind of just has you in his arm, Necro, as he kind of just laughs to himself. So, haven't heard you much talk there, Scarecrow. What's up with you?
Necro is also going to take a swig.
Okay.
And then he's just going to point at his neck. Because there's a very clear cut and scar on his neck. So he doesn't need to say anything more.
You drink it, and it goes down quite easily. It's very warm. This wine has like a quite bitter taste in the back of your throat, but it's sweet on the tongue. But the moment it kind of settles, it definitely goes to a very bitter flavor. But it definitely is some strong wine. So strong, you need to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Give me a second. We got a 15.
All right. As you kind of walking up with Jack and kind of pointing to your neck as he kind of gestures about why you don't necessarily speak, he just kind of nods, not necessarily knowing what you mean, but kind of nods in agreement. Downs more of some of the wine, and you feel a little uneasy, but you hold your drink pretty well.
All right.
As you're making your way up those stairs, Thulgrim, you see Bugger is. It looks like one of the unseen servants has placed a small brick of what looks like dried grass onto the deck of the ship, and he's just kind of gnawing on it. You said, "Are you gonna give Bugger some meat as well?"
Yeah, I'm gonna share it with him.
Okay. Are you putting him in like? Are you just giving him like the bottle?
Straight at the bottle.
All right.
Tilt the bottle up some so he'll get some. Don't wanna just like pour it where
Yeah.
he's just gonna lick at the air and get a tiny
Yeah.
bit.
As soon as he sees you approach, he kind of like with
He knows the drill.
yeah, and he sees the dried like you see like the dried grass like stuck to some of his lip and his face as he kind of just like lips the bottle as you kind of like caress it towards his lips, and just a little tip as it kind of like easily goes down his throat, and it just kind of like licks it up, and you watch as it drips down onto more of the hay, and then he starts eating more of the meat covered hay.
He knows what's up.
Hey, great.
My alcoholic ram.
Rana, what are you doing at this time, or what would you like to do?
I mean, she's just standing at the edge of at the edge of, oh my god, at the edge, of the room that Fulgrim is. She's on the outside of Fulgrim's area of the kitchen.
Where's on the deck?
Yeah, this is the deck, but if you look off to the deck, there's like doors as well, and you can whoever's on the deck at this moment, you can hear and smell the preparing of food being cooked, and you see a few of those doors to the actual kitchen area, which is over here as well, kind of open, and you don't see anybody standing there, obviously, but you see a few bags being like carried from the actual hold back and forth in between these like swinging doors, and as the doors begin to like swing open and close, you can smell the smell of like freshly cooked breads, and you can smell what smells like fish and some type of greens as well being cooked. You can hear the sounds of like pots being moved and ladles as well. Whoever starts moving, is anyone in the kitchen or moving towards the kitchen?
I went below deck. I don't remember where the kitchen is.
Kitchen's on the actual top deck. So if you're on the actual deck of the ship, on the highest level, the quarter deck, and then if you want to climb upstairs to go up to like the cannon and the ballistas, right underneath this stairs right over here, this is where the kitchen is these rooms with these two doors on either side.
Well, I was just following the crowd of people, so wherever they ended up, wherever the most people would have ended up, I suppose.
Most people kind of dispersed, but it seemed like you saw Necro and Jack kind of go downstairs and then come back upstairs, but it seems like you knowing the conversation that was happening while in the boats, that it seems Freyola has started to get her spell going. So she's probably downstairs with Avaloy at the moment.
Probably out of curiosity, I'll just go down.
Okay.
Outside the door, blocking it so no one goes in there.
Okay. As you come down the stairs with Oma in tow, kind of just pittering down these wooden stairs one at a time, he kind of makes his way, and as he notices it's a little bit harder to get down the stairs a bit, he kind of just goes off to the side where there's a bit of a railing, so it's easier for him to just kind of like slide or even walk down it like a ramp. And you see at the bottom of the base of the stairs a door, but Avaloy's kind of standing in front of it, kind of like arms crossed, kind of guarding it a bit.
I'm sitting on the floor, looking at my notebook, writing in it.
Okay.
I take it our mutual friend is in there.
I look up at him. Yeah, she's busy with the ritual, so I'm just gonna make sure no one interrupts her.
Fair enough. It kind of smells like they're cooking something upstairs. Do you want to come and join that? Or take part? Or are you going to stay here?
I think I'll just stay down here.
I see.
Thank you, though.
No problem. I'll be right back.
Alright.
I'm gonna head back up and I'll just tell Oma to just wait right there. I'll be right back.
Just wait at the bottom of the stairs?
Yep.
Okay. Oma nods. Of course.
I'm gonna take notes on Oma because he's weird.
Say what?
I'm gonna take notes on Oma because he's weird.
Okay, you kind of just start writing down and maybe even drawing like a little drawing of him, kind of just as he's kind of waits at the bottom of the stairs, kind of not necessarily glaring at you, but just looking over at you.
Yep.
Just this. It was. I don't remember if you. I don't know if you described its color, but it's like steel colored.
Yeah, it's just it's like shiny and has like this weird like scales that are like this metallic look.
Yeah, and some of them, especially around its face, are almost longer and almost blade-looking in appearance.
Yeah, they're almost like jagged from his face, like a beard full of knives almost.
And when he gets wings, it'll be even more interesting. But till then,
Very true.
but I'm gonna head back up and go to
Alright.
where the food was being made,
Okay.
gather up some, and then return back down. Getting
Okay, easily
portions. I want to get portions for me, Avali, and Oma. Probably a small
Okay.
one for Oma.
all right, and you can easily go up those stairs, and you see kind of Jack sitting on the edge of, kind of leaning across the ship. I'm guessing Necro, you're still nearby, drinking with him.
Yep.
All right. As you do so, you walk past them, and you see the swinging doors kind of open as you see an unseen servant kind of carrying what looks like a bag of flour back into the kitchen. As you kind of catch the door before it swings shut again, as you see this large. Well, it's not too large, but it's big enough for a small kitchen that's quite lively, and it's got like a bit of a as soon as you walk in, like a table for a lot of seating with stools. You see like a chest off into the far right corner, and you see in the back as well, just like a bunch of different counters and uh, tables, and you see these basically pans and food actually being stirred by itself, and you see like meals being prepped and vegetables being cut and stewed. You see what looks like a type of trout that's being sautéed in a pan, and they're all being laid out. Excuse me. You see uh, these pans kind of like moving and sautéing what looks like a kind of like a trout with like some greens and vegetables and like sliced carrots. As another set of servants is picking up plates and setting them down on the tables, you see just literally almost just about all amount of plates on how many people are on board at this point. And as you walk in, you see one of the unseen servants sit down another plate and then walk back and then even set down a small like little bowl with like different scrap bits of like the fish and the other ends of like the vegetables, like the blunt ends that can still be used and edible but don't want to go to waste, as they set it into a nice little bowl for you.
Am I supposed to give this to Oma? Come on now.
I mean, do you say
I'm
that
saying,
out loud?
yeah, I say that out loud.
The unseen servant, I mean, you can't really see its expression or hear or see it, so it just kind of grabs the bowl and then brings it back, and then brings back a regular plate with the beautifully cut up trout, and has it all sautéed, and you can see like a lemon wedge on the side with like greenery and like sliced carrots,
Perfect.
and it kind of just sets it down on the table.
I'll be taking those with me. 3 plates, please.
Okay. It easily scoots over 3 of the plates.
I gather them up as best I can
Okay.
and proceed to carry them back down.
Do you have your shield and your spear on your back, or?
Actually, what I'm going to do is set my spear down. It's on the ship. It's not going anywhere. But I'm definitely going to keep a very, very, like, just, like, intent memory of exactly where I put it.
Okay. Are you just setting it down on the kitchen, or just like leaning against the table, possibly? Or
I'll probably just, like, lean it in this corner over here.
okay.
Actually, yeah. No, wait. No, correction. I'll put it in my, I'll just put it in the same hand that I have the shield. I'm going to turn the shield, like, sideways, so it's like a flat plane.
Oh, nice.
And then 3 plates go on top of the shield.
Waiter One Eye, let's go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, you start making your way, and easy enough with your balance and skills of a longer weapon than most would carry. You easily finesse the shield as a platter and start making your way down the steps. As you see Oma still sitting in the exact same place you left him, just staring off over at Avali as she sits kneeled down, kind of just scribbling in her notebook. And as you pass by Jack and Necro, Jack kind of like walks up to you a little bit, kind of smelling the air around you, and just kind of smiles. Smells good. Hope it tastes good. As he starts making his way towards the kitchen.
You and me both, I say as I walk out.
Where the token is right now?
Yeah.
All right. I'll probably take one last swig. I keep following Jack, and then I'll like close the bottle and kind of toss it toward Deidre.
I graciously accept that bottle and knock a swig back.
Okay. So are you letting Jack just walk to the kitchen as you approach Deidre?
No. I'm walking with Jack, but
Oh, you just know the bottle.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
I'm
cool.
gonna take the bottle and also follow suit.
Alrighty. All three of you walk into the kitchen. Jack kind of leading in front as Jack sits down at the table here and starts just sees the nearest plate and starts actually breaking up the fish with his fingers, not using utensils, and just starts scarfing food down.
Yeah, I'll probably just end up finding a seat also.
There's a seat on either side of Jack or across from him.
Can I sit next to Bugger and him? Is that an option? Like, is he sitting here?
Thulgrim, are you sitting with Bugger in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Well, I'll just put you. It would probably Bugger would be. Do you have a token for Bugger actually yet?
Yeah,
He's out there on the map.
Oh. Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's right there beside me.
Yeah.
There you go. He's about.
We just hanging out.
Yeah, he's about right there, and you see kind of as you walk in, Thulgrim's kind of to your right, and you see just Bugger kind of just chewing on some like looks like a little dried little like packaged box of hay. I guess you would call it hay, but it looks like more of like just really rich dried green grass that's like in a block.
Yeah, I'll probably sit in between Bugger and Jack.
Okay.
Is that right here?
Yep. Jack's sitting about right here. Kind of the back to the kitchen as he's just scarfing down food. Deidre, you said you were walking in as well?
Yep.
Are you sitting next to Jack or across from? It would be right. Actually, you'd either be a sitting next to Jack, or you'd be sitting next to Thulgrim, basically, unless you want to move a stool around.
I'll just plop down next to Thalgrim.
Okay. Okay. He starts. You see as Jack just starts fingering through his food and just scarfing it down and starts licking at the plate.
Well, Necro's just taking his time eating. Not in any rush right now.
Okay.
So we're just getting drunk.
Yeah, I noticed.
As soon as I get down to the lower deck,
drinking.
as soon as I get down to the lower deck, I'll set the one plate down right in front of Oma.
Okay.
That one's for you. They tried to give you scraps.
Scraps.
Yeah, I figured that wouldn't be enough. That'd be rude.
He looks down at the plate that you placed in front of him. Looks good.
Smells good. We'll see how it is. Let me know.
Starts kind of nibbling down at the fish itself, not really nipping down at the veggies.
Yeah. And I'll take the other one over to Abilene.
Okay.
I
Well,
take it and thank him.
And then I'll sit down somewhere, probably in between the two,
Okay.
and eat mine.
I'm gonna put the fish into my backpack for Hyde, and then I'll eat the vegetables.
Okay.
I also go straight for the fish.
Hyde just immediately zips into the bag and starts slamming down on some fish, and it only takes him a few moments as he watches tiny, thin bones just being tossed across out of the bag.
It's probably didn't just crunch them.
Yeah, I think he eats bones. They ate those monkeys.
That's true. Very true.
Just the quiet sound of crunch, crunch, crunch coming from the,
I just
from
like
the
the
bag.
idea of him throwing the bones, and then just like after the fish is done, he's just like reaches out for the bones and starts crunching on them.
It's like, ah, damn it, I'm still hungry. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
Thank you, One Eye. You didn't have to.
Figured you probably need to eat something. It's been quite a day.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But I guess you have quite an interesting adventure in store. I wish you luck, wherever you end up.
Thanks. I'm not really sure where I'll end up either, but I'm certain it'll probably be better than here.
Here's hoping.
I hope you find what you're looking for too.
Well, from what it sounds like, finally on the right path.
Didn't
Oh,
she?
yes. I don't think I've properly introduced myself. I am Yargerit Saram.
Fancy.
So you have a secret name as well.
I figured if you
I
come
guess-
back and need to find me, that might be one that could get you further.
I guess if we're sharing names, I'm Siofra Barbo. It's nice to meet you.
A pleasure.
I shake his hand.
I reciprocate the handshake.
Excellent.
Yes,
It's a
excellent.
deal. We're trading names now.
We're name traders. Ah, yes, the ancient art.
Oma kind of lifts his head after he kind of snacks down more of the fish and leaves the greens as he pushes the plate towards you, One Eye. I don't care for the greens.
I've heard of dragons that eat gems. I doubt greens are much of a hindrance.
It kind of looks over at you and then looks over at Avali.
So I see you got a new friend.
Yeah, so this is Oma. Tried to summon a beast companion, but it didn't go as planned. I ended up with him.
Well, he's certainly stunning to see.
As you
Quite.
say that as well, One Eye, Oma looks over to you, Avali, and then kind of does like almost like a nod or kind of like a slight bow. Can't necessarily speak to you, but will bow.
I'll nod back to him.
But I'll respond to what he said earlier. It's like, if it truly is not to your taste, then I'll take those, and I take the greens.
All right, nice.
He's so much like Hyde sometimes, I guess.
Obviously, one that never really had to struggle.
Obviously.
Is there anything else anybody would like to do? Or are we all just kind of drinking and eating and chilling?
Pass out drunk.
We big chillin'.
Daria's gonna go check on her guests to make sure they're not dead.
All right. I mean,
Why would we be dead?
one at a time, like kind of just patrolling around the ship. The captain just makes. First, you hear a lot of commotion in the kitchen, as you see, you see Necro just kind of thumbing through his food kind of slowly as you watch as a eager Jack has already put down like 2 plates and about to put down a third, as Thulgrim and this ram looking a little wobbly as the ram kind of slowly puts his head down into the dried grass as it kind of just nips down even at the bedding while it is like half asleep. Deidre, I'm guessing you're just about finishing your plate as well.
That is correct.
Alrighty.
Hey, is everyone doing okay?
Depends on who's asking.
Me?
Shoot a thumbs up.
Jack kind of like takes his hand and just wipes all the food from his mouth onto his arm. I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks, Captain.
No problem. Is everyone else downstairs? I think there was more of you.
Jack kind of nods. His food still full in his mouth.
Well, you all have fun. I'm gonna go check on everyone else.
As you make your way down the stairs, you see a small kind of dragon sitting at the bottom of the stairs, and you see One Eye kind of just knelt down next to Avalu, blocking a door to to the bunk room.
Bara's gonna stare at the dragon for a moment, and then she's just gonna facepalm and shake her head and be like, "Where did this come from?"
Oma kind of turns his head at this new person that's just arrived.
Oh, I brought him along. Figured it wouldn't be a problem. He doesn't eat much.
He doesn't. Are you sure? He looks like he eats a lot.
Hardly. Actually, I ate more. I'm not gonna lie. Apologies.
Well, as long as he doesn't break anything, I guess it's fine.
Trust me, he's probably smarter than half the people on the upper deck. He'll be fine.
Smash cut to Jack just like third plate in, just smashing his face.
Jack! Oh my gosh, that's my plates. Well, is everything going alright down here?
As far as I know, yeah. I'm just down here eating.
Alrighty, just making sure. Everything's fine. Just try not to summon any more dragons or whatever.
I'll do what I can.
I'm gonna go back upstairs and check on Gilroy.
You don't want to talk to yourself?
No, I'm not gonna talk to Avalee. She doesn't
Okay.
deserve it.
Dang.
Who the hell would want to talk to Avalee?
She's not worth my time.
Well, Avalee doesn't want to talk to anyone else.
As you start making your way back up to the deck and then go towards the helm, you kind of look into the sky, and it seems like the unseen servants and Kilroy are managing the sails quite well, and doesn't seem like there's any necessarily issues. And as you come up to the helm, Kilroy kind of turns to you. Everything all right?
No, everything's fine. I'm just overreacting a bit. I wasn't
Cool.
expecting this from people.
It is a lot of people.
And a dragon, and a goat.
I saw the dragon. There's 2 dragons?
Now there is, apparently.
Wow.
Sounds like we need more goats.
And I'm pretty sure someone's been giving the goat alcohol, which I don't think is all that healthy.
Sounds like you have your hands full, Captain.
A bit. At least I have you, the only sane person on the ship.
Yes, ma'am. As its face turns back into being a happy face.
What would I do without you, Killboy?
Die. As the mist begins to kind of fade and kind of beginning to clear, as they begin to continue to travel forward, and you see on the horizon a bit as you get a little bit farther away from the crown of Illyria, becoming even smaller and smaller as you guys get farther and farther away from its shores. Uh, the boat kind of rocks a bit and gives a bit of a sway. Even the lanterns above, and even in the kitchen, and a few in the hallway, as One Eye and Avali kind of kneeled down, finishing down their meal. Kind of the lanterns above kind of sway with the ship as the light kind of just cascades off of everything, and the few shadows that kind of reflect. We'll go back to the kitchen as Jack kind of finishes down his fifth plate, and him seeming a bit woozy and back and forth as he starts to reek more of the wine as he finishes it, as it clatters across the table a bit. Jack looks over to you, Necro. So you don't talk much, I guess?
Necro's gonna point his neck one more time.
What are you, cold? You need a scarf?
Alright, Necro gets up and leaves.
As you go to stand, he puts his hand on your shoulder to kind of sit you back down. Wait, I'm sorry. This is a little hard for me. He kind of like sits up a little bit and looks like he's about to puke, but then he kind of like swallows it and then looks back at you again. I don't mean to bother you, and I can. Friola tells me all the time that I could be a bit of a handful, but you remind me of my friend, and he kind of looks at you with a bit of a distant stare. I think if Friola was correct, and Weejaws as well, look, you've met my friend.
Alright, Necro's gonna relax a little bit now that he's not being a jerk to Necro. And then when he says Weejass, he'll shake his head yes.
Yeah. Well, is kind of hard, and he kind of you see the blood going to his face a little bit, and his skin complexion is very olive green with his tiefling skin and his yellow bright eyes being a bit more swollen with a lot of alcohol in his face, as a little bit of the red kind of stuff peers in through his skin, and he kind of stammers a bit and then kind of swings back again, and he kind of looks you deep into the eyes for a moment. Have you ever heard of the name Vincent Barrage?
Necro is just gonna, I guess, nod, because now he knows who that is.
That was my best friend. He died 106 years ago. And, I don't know what it is, but you remind me of him somehow. And, if it's true that you do see him, can you tell him something for me?
Necro's just gonna patiently wait for him to say what he's gonna say.
You feel a weirdly weird sensation in the back of your head for a moment. Almost like there's no windows or anything in this room, but a warm breeze kind of goes across your neck, almost like a summer breeze. Almost you could feel the heat off of it for a moment. For a moment, you think it's like the wine getting to you, but it kind of impacts you a little bit more as he kind of stares at you, his eyes bright with his yellow glare. Tell him I miss him. And Weejaws does too. Friola as well, but she doesn't want to own up to it. She's stronger than us. And as he says that, he kind of stands up, grabs the 5 plates at the table, sets them on the counter behind him, and walks out of the kitchen. Does anybody want to do anything else?
I'm probably passed out against Bugger at this point.
Okay, that's a good place to sleep.
Yeah, he's my boy. He's my boy.
Bugger kind of curls his neck into yours and just kind of falls asleep.
Necro's probably gonna go find a spot to meditate because he doesn't feel like he needs sleep. So
Okay.
he's probably gonna go all the way up to where the weapons are because he doubts that anyone's actually up there.
All right. If there's actually, if you can go down 2 down floors towards the hold of the ship, and that is just where no one is.
Oh no. This will be fine.
Okay. That's easy for you to do then. You just go up to the upper part of the front of the ship, and you see these like large ballistas and this weird 3-barreled cannon, and it has like this weird rack on it with these like glowing like metallic looking spheres that give off like a kind of a hum that are kind of just locked into like a small like little almost like a crate that you can see with each little like ball of ammunition, and you can see it like lined up with other like cannonballs.
Nice. So hopefully there's some nice white noise to meditate to.
Yeah, as you kind of sit down here, the hum of the ammunition kind of just like vibrates there as the sound of the ocean kind of is like zoned out as you kind of just sit there to meditate. Are you just kind of meditating into like a state of like your rest?
I would say not right away. Necro's kind of just gonna start reflecting
Okay.
because he went from feeling one way to another way, so he's gonna try to reflect on himself, and then
Okay.
when he feels like he's satisfied with that, then he'll probably just kind of rest.
All right. As you're kind of meditating there and just kind of going through everything in your mind, your are your eyes closed, or are you kind of just staring off?
I'm just staring off.
Okay. As you kind of stare off and at the bow of the ship as it kind of creaks and moves, bobs up and down with the movement of the sea, you see and kind of focus like on the like planks of the wood and the formations of like the metal around you, and kind of just zoning off. And in the in the little marks in the wood, you're kind of just like trailing off, kind of like when you look at the ground and your mind starts making shapes. As you kind of just like staring off for a moment, the beams of like the stairs and the where it's angled where you're sitting, kind of the shadows of them kind of move and shift. And as they do so, you see what you think is like, you make out almost like a face for a moment, and then it goes away. And then you kind of like focus back on it again, and then nothing happens.
Necro's probably not too worried about it, if I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
He's probably thinking about how he's going to kill people. But he's also thinking, and kind of what's happening right now. Like, is it worth going back to right now, or is this something that needs to happen later?
I understand. As you contemplate that, you feel something kind of touch the top of your head for a moment, and then you feel it touch your shoulder as rain begins to kind of drip down on you, as rain starts to fall from above. Daria, as you kind of stand at the helm with Kilroy looks over to you. "The storm's coming, ma'am."
Are we prepared?
"You will try."
Let's do this.
Well, that's what we're in this session today.
Yeah.
Hills.
We're on a boat. I got a new boat, guys.
On a boat.
Your boat! My boat!